Welcome back to Dead of Ages Past. We've been gone for quite a little while for that holiday break, but we're back, and we left on a pretty good cliffhanger last time. Let's see how it picks up. So, the name of the session is Fickle Finger of Fate. Last session, Gilbert Kurgosler acquired a house through some pretty smart means, and after acquiring the house, brought his friends to see it. They were kind of engaged in their own activities, doing some odd work for the Night Sharks, and they think they're probably being involved with another one of the gangs in the city of Rostagar, but they're not sure. It's just a vague kind of connection. That said, Volette and Gilbert went down into the basement. After descending down there, they found a very strange kind of passageway behind one of the barrels. They moved the barrel aside, and they went into the weird passageway, found a series of candles lit on the ground, strange arcane symbol drawn out on the ground, and they wounded Jacob Adams sitting on the ground there, looking up at these individuals with kind of a look of defeat. It kind of says, it kind of said, just defeatedly, I figured it was bound to happen at some point. And you two stare at the person who was in part responsible for the death of your friend Sayre. What do you do?
I ready my shield and loose judgment in its scabbard and turn to look at Gilbert.
As you're ready for battle, you can just see the look on his face doesn't change from one of defeat. He doesn't seem to ready himself, defend himself, and the position he's kind of sitting there in makes you think that he might be wounded or just uncaring.
So I have one question for you. Is this the Adams brother that we saw killed?
The other one.
This is the other one. Okay, that makes more sense that way. So I would say, so you are Jacob Adams, correct?
That's correct.
What are you doing in my basement, and what is this? Does it look like there's a ceremony thing set up like in a picture?
Yeah. Candles are all over it, kind of lit. Some of them are kind of down to basically just nodules of wax with wicks still kind of loosely hanging from them. And he looks like he's been down here for a while. Some of these candles have just piles of wax all over the stone. And he seems to be just kind of sitting there, and he says to you, "I'm confused, Master Kurgosler. If you recall, we stayed in this house together for some time. I used to share one of the bedrooms alongside yours with my brother. Do you not recall?"
Yes, I do, but what are you doing here now?
I just noticed that everybody's in the wrong spot. He says to you, "I came back here because it's the only place I could seek safety."
Okay, what's your reason for being here? What are you trying to do?
I'm hiding from the conglomerate.
Okay. And I look over at Valette and I say, you could put your weapons down. I don't think we have anything to worry from Jacob Adams.
I let my hand off the handle of my sword and just keep my shield sort of held somewhat. I don't put it away, but I hand free from the sword.
Makes sense. Okay. As you guys are kind of looking to it, there was a bit of a commotion downstairs for those who are upstairs. If I recall correctly, Ren was sitting idly in the library while Brox and Sam kind of were studying in their own specific paths. If I recall correctly, Broxgar was looking for any information he can about the blaze hatchets, and specifically one formative member of that clan. And Samuel, you were researching, I forget exactly.
I was going through a history book and making corrections.
That's right.
So that the history was actually accurate.
Right. Accurate. Got it. And then Yen Lauren was sitting in the study. I think Ren was making his way that way, not the study, but the entertaining room near the fire, and a pot of tea was placed out before you, and as was some wine brought from downstairs. And that was when he told you, or Kurt Gosler went downstairs to check. So the mage isn't actually upstairs; he's downstairs on the steps. You did hear a bit of a sound, Yen Lauren. And probably Sam too, because you guys are kind of close to where that would be. Ren, you're pretty perceptive, so you would have overheard it as well, especially since it's right underneath you. What would you guys like to do?
Definitely would like to go down, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably put down the history book and at least investigate at the top of the stairs.
Ren, Broxgar, rather, you see Ren is kind of making his way with purpose out of the library. Do you stay and continue doing your research, or do you go with him?
I'll follow.
Okay. You guys split off. Samuel, you probably make it down first. And then Ren and Brox, as you guys are heading that way, you're passing through the main Grand Hall, and you hear that there's a knock on the door, and you see that the attendant of the house isn't present, but there is a soldier kind of looking over to you near the foyer, like near the entryway from the foyer into the Grand Hall, kind of looking at you curiously, like he's looking for that mage, the young boy, but he can't seem to find him. Like he's not going to answer the door unless he's told to, or unless someone else does it.
Answer the door. See who it is.
Okay. All right. And he walks over to the door and opens it. Do you wait to see past him who it is, or do you just go?
I would wait to see.
I would want to wait, yeah.
You see the door open to two individuals, one about the same height as Gilbert, wearing a very strange set of glasses. His hair is a bit more purple than Gilbert's. He's wearing white finery that appears to be the finery of a magier. He has a cat kind of sitting on his shoulder, and he looks to the gentleman with kind of purpose. But standing next to him is another familiar face to you. Your fellow associate from the conglomerate, your informant, if you recall, Connor.
Oh. Connor Bates.
The soldier goes, and kind of looks back over his shoulder, and then turns back, like he has a charisma of 8 or something, and he's asking two people with charisma 8 to help.
Okay.
Yes, my lord. The small mage kind of looks up. Is the master of this house in? Allow me to go and get him. Are you going to invite me in? And he looks back to you guys like he needs help.
Step aside.
Okay, he does.
And then I guess I would move forward. And is Rockscar gonna follow?
Yeah.
You see Connor kind of lean down and do one of these, and then the Magier says, you're Ren Keen-Eyes, the private investigator from Spellmoth, is that right?
Ren would give a nod and a short bow.
He returns the bow with a slight nod. Perfect. So, is the master of the house in?
Lord Kurgosler is here. He's indisposed at the moment. Why don't you make yourselves come?
He steps into the foyer, cut scene from you back down to downstairs. Samuel, you start to step down the steps, and just behind you, Yenlorn, you said you were going downstairs, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming if I heard noise, that's where I would go.
You guys basically meet up at the top of the stairs and kind of give each other the knowing mage buddy look and start to head down the steps. You see that at the landing of the steps is the young apprentice mage, the lore master of the house. Kind of looks up at you, kind of looks back over to the barrels, and he says, "Oh, gentlemen, Lord Kurgosler, there's a noise coming from over there, and that's where him and the lady went.
I'll nod. Much appreciated.
Okay. Cuts.
Just follow Yen Lauren.
Cut back.
Roll out that accent again, Zach.
Cut back
Gotta
to.
get back in it.
Cut back to Valette and Gilbert. You said you were putting your sword away, Tim.
I sort of like readied it in my sheath and had my hand on it, and I just sort of released and relaxed.
Okay.
So it's just shield in hand and then a free hand.
Got it. And then Gilbert, you were asking a question of him. You were talking to him. Feel free to continue, and I'll interject with some mages in the middle of it.
Okay, sure. I was going to ask him, what he was doing, hiding away in the basement here.
Hiding from the conglomerate. They're after me, and they're after my entire clan. That's why we were trying to get with Sayre. That's why we were trying to bring her back to the family. Don't you know anything?
Well, that is interesting. Now, you're not going to be able to stay here.
Did you recover her body?
Well, that's the unfortunate thing.
Did you recover my brother's body?
No, we did not.
Son of a bitch.
The conglomerate had some.
He slams his hand off to the side and smashes his hand into some candle wax. And you can kind of see him look at his hand angrily. At that moment, Yen Lauren and Sam, you walk in. You see Jacob Adams.
So, what the fuck's going on here?
Who the fuck are
Here.
you?
Who the fuck are you?
I asked first.
I asked better.
I guess I can't argue with that. I'm Jacob Adams. Who are you?
This is Sam, a recent acquaintance.
Fair. So, are you going to send me to them and make me into a body? Or are you going to let me just stay here, get out of the city safely? I had some connections with the Idealists, and I was hoping to get onto their railway out. But those kind of fell through, and I'm hoping to rejoin them. I've got another friend who might help me out through the docks, and she's pretty wily, but I don't know if I can get into communication with her either.
I'd probably just, at this point, elbow Yen Lauren and just say, so, wait, do you know this fucker?
He is man who killed lady in party before you.
So should we toast him some then? Like,
It seems like the little blue one does not want him dead. So we shall not. Till we need to.
Great, thanks. But yeah, if you can get me in contact with a member of the Idealists, I know there are some here in Old Rostagar, I just haven't been able to leave the house. You do know Wellenbart had specific magics placed upon the house. Divine magics, right, Gilbert?
Yep,
Yeah.
that is true.
Just really hope that the Magier doesn't come to this house, and I really hope they're not invited in. Cutscene from you to
That's when it gets real good.
back upstairs. Brockstar
Frazier.
and Ren. He's standing in the foyer, and he kind of like loosely kind of like gathers himself as he enters in. He looks to Connor, and he says, "Now you swore to me that this gentleman, this fine elf, was a keen investigator, and he worked for quite the stipend. I don't want to wait too long. If you would go and gather the lord of this house and bring him, that would be helpful. We have very important matters to discuss."
So Ren would look to Broxgar and say, "Why don't you stay with our guests? I'll fetch."
The cat on his shoulder turns to look at Broxgar and gives him the saltiest look, like...
And then I would go downstairs, and when I see Gilbert, I would say to him, I would mention who's here, and I would say, "This, I think, is a problem. You
So
might be looking for some."
About the time that Adam says what he says, Ren kind of comes into the room, and Ren, you see the group kind of tucked in a small little like cavity in the wall, and beyond it you see that there's an open kind of chamber, and sitting on the floor is Jacob Adams. I posted that for the stream, not so much for you guys, but yeah.
Yeah. And so I would recognize him from before. Would I understand his opposition to the conglomerate?
You know that Biken was seeking them.
Mm-hmm. I would mention to Gilbert that there's someone here who represents the conglomerate. It's the Major Kergosler, and
Adams.
he seems like he's pretty. What?
Adams goes white. Like.
And he seems like he's here on official business, and he's very impatient.
Did you let him in?
He is standing in the entryway.
Ooh, this could be problem for you, Mr. Adams.
Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck!
I'm going to walk over to where the Adams is,
Yeah.
and how long will it last? 10 minutes. I'm going to just sort of look at Gilbert, just try to get him out of here fast, and I'm just going to cast Silent Image to make it look like we are not there.
Okay. You're basically creating an illusory bubble around you that makes it look like it's just a cave. Okay. Broxgar, as you're kind of sitting there with the Major, do you have anything you want to interject to him or Connor?
No.
Just staring him down.
Yeah.
So fucker.
So Connor looks like he's kind of a blonde-headed guy, younger, probably about the same age as Sam, probably. Just a conglomerate agent. I don't know if you actually met him before, Broxgar. But Connor Bass was the informant guy who was helping Villette and Ren. That said, back downstairs. Lord Kergosler, are you going to come upstairs, or do you have more questions for the guest, the unwanted guest? Well, I guess they're all unwanted guests today. Do you have any questions for the one that wasn't invited in?
I would say hold tight here. I'm going to go up and deal with the Major. And then I would turn around and go up the stairs at a decent pace. Not running, but...
Sure.
You know.
Definitely not something you want to rush to.
As
Yes,
Gilbert,
definitely.
Fire your ass off, Gilbert.
Yeah.
as Gilbert heads up the stairs, I turn to the Adams and I say, "What problems are caused by inviting Major?"
You don't know anything about magic if you don't know about the old magics. Do you know anything about Vaticus?
I was
Know anything?
more of a tool that was pointed at things. I didn't quite understand all that was going on.
Well,
Yeah, you've got to give him a bit of time. He doesn't really understand how things work just yet. I'm trying to teach him.
he looks to Sam and he says, "But you understand why it's a problem, right?"
Oh yeah, of course I fucking understand.
Yeah, it's a huge
The
fucking
weapon-
problem. It also is a huge fucking problem that the weapon we were crafting to defeat those fucking assholes was killed and taken from us. I bet she's probably lauding around serving as some kind of zombie servant for that fucking asshole.
Wait, are you talking about the blonde-haired girl, right?
Sayre, you've seen her?
Yes, she's
Yeah,
already
she
been
tried to
made a
fucking
zombie
kill us the
thing.
other day.
God fucking damn it. Oh god, if they corrupt it. And then it cuts back to the scene upstairs. Gilbert, you slowly make your way into the grand hall, and you are met in the room by three individuals who kind of fanned out a bit in the grand hall. Standing in the middle, basically diametrically opposed from you, is a gnome, blue skin, purplish hair, kind of looking at you in his white garb with a smile on his face. But it's like, oh, it's Cheshire. It's just, he seemed, it's like a devious smile. Off to his right is Connor. I don't know if you've met Connor Bates, but he's the informant of the conglomerate. Others are privy to that information. You may not be. So he just looks like a conglomerate agent. And then off to his left, kind of like scratching at one of the walls, like corners to one of the other entrances or exits out of this grand hall, is a brown cat, striped with big floppy ears and just kind of bright yellow eyes. And as you kind of enter in, it kind of stops scratching and just holds its claws in the wood, kind of looks over its shoulder back at you and goes,
Oh, gee.
he says, I apologize. Snaps his fingers, the cat disappears and reappears on his shoulder, and he says, he can get pretty destructive when he's forced to be patient. We have some matters to discuss, Lord Kurgosler. Do you have a room that would serve as a adequate meeting space for us? Perhaps with a table and some chairs?
Would my den that's down on the first floor work?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do that. I think it has a little mess, but we can walk in there and I'll kind of push it aside. And,
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, the den, you go into it, and are you talking about the living space with like the piano and such, or no? You're talking about the office
No, I'm
down
talking
here.
like the office.
Okay.
The office.
Yeah, the office is still a bit ransacked, and a bit of the destruction left behind by Biken is still kind of present here, but you move across the way to the chair and sit at the desk, it being where Lord Wellenbart sat when he lived here. Connor kind of moves into the room and stands near the door. He does not shut it behind him, and the Magier sits in the chair across from you. The cat jumps off of his shoulder and just stands on the desk, kind of just idly looking at you from the side. And the Magier kind of smiles and says, Lord Kurgosler. It has a ring to it, does it not?
Yeah, I guess maybe I should say thank you.
Well, no. Thank you. I didn't know there were any other Kurgoslers in the city of Rostagar. It's very, very interesting that members of our bloodline have come out of the Stormloft region for many purpose. Why exactly are you in the city?
Well, I have my reasons. One of them is just to, make sure that gnomes are treated fairly in this area.
Oh, a fine cause indeed. But I mean to say, are your motivations and your, your goals here your own, or the Kurgoslers up in Stormloft?
Oh, they are my own.
Deception
but-
check. Deception charisma.
This will be an interesting one here. All right, deception. Hopefully, the first roll of the night is a doozy.
It is. He goes, well, you are a self-made gnome. You have made quite a name for yourself in the city. Quite a lot of people are asking about you. And he kind of reaches into his coat and pulls out an envelope and throws it onto the table. I mistakenly received some of your mail. Please, it is yours. And at this point, I would like for you to open the envelope I sent you in the email.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
All right, gentlemen.
It's anthrax.
Yeah, thanks.
As you kind of look it over, he says, apparently, your associate, Lord Brandt, or just Mr. Brandt, I'm not sure, put a lot of time into your efforts to recover this estate and make a name for yourself here. And I didn't look at it, but it is a piece of royal mail sent from the Rostagar family. So I think it might be of some importance to you.
I would, open it and look at it and set it aside so he can't see it necessarily. Okay. And be like, yes, thank you for returning this to me. See, this is strange. I'm thanking you for
delivering your mail is not the purpose
today.
of my mission here. Oh no, not at all. I also meant to give you a very distinct and forward apology. It has come to my attention that splinter cells within our organization have been causing you and your friends some trouble.
Yes, that is true.
performing
We have
certain
had some run-ins.
unlawful actions, such as the destruction of property, not your own, but also your own, that you were renting. There was another instance of, there was another instance on a place called Tavern Lane, where some property was destroyed as well, using illicit and very illegal magical technology. Is that right? Yes. Well, as I understand it, the parties who are responsible for those activities have been brought to justice. If I recall correctly, some of the evidence of that matter was taken into our custody, and we have definitely brought forward a secretive case, magical related case, to the king and his court. He has found that we are required to make apologies and some retribution, some recompensance for the activities that have happened. So we are currently paying for repairs in the apartment complex you are staying in. Not exactly as lavish as other places if you've been staying, but I suppose you live where you can, especially since these agents, these renegade agents, were chasing you down. I assume you did it out of necessity and not so much out of desire to live in such an area. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there were some very interesting things that we saw, that we ran into.
Oh, for sure.
Some high tech, I would call them.
Illegal
you know,
technology.
high-tech- yeah, illegal technology.
Yes.
And, well, if you say you weren't behind it, but was other people, that is a
No,
little bit.
I can give
a
you
little bit better.
a bit of information regarding that. You see, there was an agent, an enforcer, Agent 47, who was causing some serious issues. You see, he had been taken away from his position as an enforcer and brought into the conglomerate's navy, the navy that assisted in Rostagar's aerial navy. He had stolen the aircraft and flew it in areas where he was not supposed to fly it, basically in an attempt to find and destroy a rival of his. He was mad with the lust for revenge. I don't know much about the story behind it, but we think it might be because... He kind of looks over at Connor and kind of leans in. To be honest, I think it was because of undaunted madness. You know how it goes. When their old memories of their past lives sometimes leak into their new body and soul.
I have heard that. That kind of makes sense.
Well, we can't apologize enough. And I do understand that you currently are housing, at least from what I've gathered, a former associate of ours, a former agent, one Agent 87. Is that correct?
Agent 87. I have never heard of an Agent 87.
Well, Agent 87 was skilled in the arts of disguise. I believe the model of Undaunted that Agent 87 was specifically designed for espionage during the Pod War. And so it may be the case that you currently are residing with this individual, but they are currently cloaking their true identity from you. And Lord Kurgazlar, do not think that this is a crime. We are not saying we want to know this person's location or anything to that effect. No. Nothing could be further from the truth. What I'm trying to let you know is that we would like to make sure that they are aware that they have been dismissed, but they've been dismissed honorably from the conglomerate. I'm sorry, she. I apologize. Sometimes I refer to Undaunted in a very negative way because I'm from an older age and I deal with technology a bit differently. Something that is created and crafted is a thing to me, and I sometimes let that slip a bit. I apologize if, well, of course, you don't even know that you're traveling with her, or she may be disguised as him, for all I know, or for all you know. That said, back to my point. Agent 87 has been dismissed honorably, and we want to make sure that her records are returned to her. They should be arriving in the mail maybe tomorrow. At least the dismissal form, the initial dismissal form, will be present there. And yes, that is one of the primary reasons that we have come, to make sure that anyone that's been affected by our renegade agents' mishandling of certain resources has been dealt with.
Well, excellent. It's an interesting news, and thank you for returning my mail again, and for not, contesting my bid to
By all
Lady
rights.
Wellenbard.
By all rights, you were
I worked really
titled.
hard for. Yes, thank you.
Well, we weren't aware of your presence. Basically, as the claimant of House Kurgosler was brought to our attention, specifically mine, I didn't know why it was listed to a Kurgosler, but the Wellenbards do have some past pretense with the Kurgoslers, and so I thought it might have been some ancient kind of contract between House Wellenbard and House Kurgosler. And as the only Kurgosler that I really knew about that was present, I made for it. But then we realized that you existed and were even present. We did have some agents who were looking in on this house, and I believe a couple of agents, per reports as of recent, did have some ties with you. Specifically, Agent 87 had some notice of you being a person of interest. But from what I gathered from the reports, the last one filed just before the horrible death of the last Magear. I'm sure you've heard about that. It's news everywhere within the city. But just before that death, Agent 87 had put in a report stating that you weren't guilty by magical law, as you were being roped into some sort of plot to allow renegade mages to escape the city and not face justice to the conglomerates. So those crimes have been waived. Those aren't even really crimes. You were trying to extend your political influence, I presume. So not really a matter for us to even concern ourselves with any further. Cut from that downstairs. Inside the silent bubble, Adams is sitting there. Broxgar, you're kind of just paying attention to Connor. So you could wander away from that nonsense and go downstairs if you wanted to, or you can stay and continue to overhear what's happening between the two gnomes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd stay in over.
Okay. And then back downstairs then. Does anybody have anything they want to say to Adams as he kind of like, fuck, shit, is kind of like not very happy about the situation?
I probably just press him to please elaborate on how the ancient magics work. Because he kind of just freaked out instead of actually giving me an explanation of what's going to happen.
This thing, that I put up, it's good at, pooling visuals, not so good at audio, so you might not want to be too terribly loud now either.
I understand. Yeah, I'm keeping it down to a beep. But, the ancient magics. So you were crafted from ancient magics yourself, probably. You're the enforcer, aren't you?
Yeah, she is.
You kind of... Yeah, because, no, he outed him, dude. Or she outed him. She said, oh, he's Sam. That's Sam.
Oh.
Sam's that guy.
Tit for tat.
Yeah, I wasn't giving up my name, and then someone gave it up for me.
So yeah, he's the enforcer. Or she's the enforcer, rather. So anyway, Adams kind of says to you, he says, in ancient times there was power over people. The first magics that were created in the world were created by people. They were created from the mind. Some people nowadays call them psionics. Other people call them mental magic, or brain magic. Those were the first real magics. The imagination is what created everything else, and the powers were the ones who excelled in these magics. Anyway, words have power. Things have power. Gestures have power in this world. It was, I believe, the god Vaticus, the god of parasites, who was first bound by the primal magic of etiquette, the primal magic of the primal magic of niceties. You see, have you heard of vampire lore or stories?
I nod.
So you do know they have certain idiosyncrasies in their tales that sound untrue and completely farcical, like they can't enter into places when they're invited. Well, there's a reason why that's the case. They're magical creatures. They're undead. They're very potent sources of magic, at least according to our idealist studies. Or, I'm sorry, no, wrong guy. That's later. At least according to our magical studies. And we've used a lot of these old primal magics to kind of create weapons. And we've sworn ourselves to powers that are greater than us. And
So Sarah was one of these weapons?
yes. She was subjected to certain rites that changed her blood to be more filled with magic. Some people are born lucky, and they're born with magic in their blood. Most people call those people sorcerers. If they can be tempered into what the conglomerate wants, they're allowed to live. Otherwise, they're probably siphoned into things that aren't exactly human anymore. Or what have you. Kind of gestures to Yen Lauren, who's a half-elf. If you study magic, like, a real magician should, then you learn about magic and you can use it. You can basically trick the world into doing as you please magically. Those are wizards. And then there are some who swear themselves to ancient powers and are given the gift of magic. And those people are the most abhorrent because they're no longer themselves, they're servants. For some reason, and for no reason really in particular, the camera's just kind of zooming in on Yen Lauren at this point. Just kind of zooming in on him. It's like, and then it cuts back to him and he says, "We've created a magic from something different. With powerful old rites, we were able to change the blood of someone and turn them into a weapon. I am a weaker version of what she was. She apparently disrupted the rites we committed on her and changed them into something totally different, at least from what we saw when we fought her. We didn't mean to kill her. We were just defending ourselves from everybody who was trying to kill us. We just wanted to take her back. We just wanted to make sure that we could make her hone the weapon so it could be used to destroy the conglomerate. And the idealists, we've been trying to get in contact with them because we know they have the same aims, from what we've heard. But we're just country folk trying to take back our rights. With rights. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Out of character. He doesn't. Out of character. Does anybody have any questions for Jacob Adams before I snap back to Gnome Time?
Can we tell anything about the ritual that he was trying to do?
Doesn't look like he's trying to do a ritual. It looks like the ritual's already been committed, and you would already have recognized it, Yen Lauren, and also my brain is not working today, Sam. It is a ritual it's a ritual version, like a hard casting of non-detection. Not non-detection, but Nistel's magic aura.
Right. I'm just sort of also concentrating on
The silent
the
image.
illusion, so I'm not questioning as much right now as just scoffing and focusing.
Of course. But yeah, snap back to gnomes. Gilbert, he says to you, I also have noticed that a mage who was in league with the conglomerate and was working on becoming a agent of the conglomerate was working alongside the enforcer, Agent 87. And I just want to make sure that they know too, if you run into that individual, Yen Lauren, I believe his name was, he too has been dismissed formally, but without as honorable. His services are no longer required. If he wishes to come back, he certainly can, as can Agent 87. If you see them, please make sure that they're aware of that. And if you are not being honest with me, then you're a great liar, because I believe you tell me the truth when you say you do not know you're traveling with Agent 87. But according to our lore and according to our knowledge, we have reason to believe that you were seen in the vicinity of Agent 87 during the problems from our renegade agent.
Well, sometimes you get false, reports of who's who. And, I've noticed that with the gnomes, sometimes people around here will just say something like, I saw the gnome, it had to have been this guy. Well, just because it's a gnome doesn't make it me. That's all I'm saying.
He kind of laughs. I suppose to outsiders, we can kind of look the same with our bright, bluish and purplish hair and our blue skin. But I understand now. It may have been a misidentification, and I do apologize. But if you do run into either of those individuals, please make sure that they know that they've been dismissed. If it's not too much of a problem, we do not have a forwarding address for Agent 87. If you do run into her, please just make sure that you let us know so we can get her the dismissal notice and make sure she also has all of her records from her history and her past. Because we are keeping those, but they're hers. So they were held from her by the Magier, who, as I understand it, had a bit of secrecy and issues of his own and was doing some things illicitly on the side. But again, I won't get too deep into the weeds with that. Just if you do run into Agent 87, I do believe that she goes by Valette Glean. And then I do have one other name. Connor, do you recall it? Her true name, my lord? Yes, the true name of her soul. Do you recall it?
Doug.
I don't have the notes, my lord. And then Kurgazar kind of snaps his fingers. I don't need you. I have a perfect memory. Agatha. I don't recall the last name. It will be on the dismissal record for her. But if you would, and you do see her, or just let her know. And if you do tell us, we'll make sure that the dismissal notice is forwarded to her.
So
You didn't know that.
That is so strange. So, just curious. So you're dismissing these 8 former agents.
Honorably.
And an honorable dismissal. So basically, you're not going to charge them with anything.
Oh, no. Certainly not. Basically, because of the situation that's arose, our formal documentation basically denotes that they weren't guilty of any activities related to Rizik's death. They weren't guilty of any activities related to the destruction and cause of issue out and about in the city of Rostagar, specifically, most notably in Bearport. I believe both instances regarding the illegal magical technology, which you said you weren't present but you knew about, were present. He then says,
Could I insight this guy and see if he's lying about hurting them or,
Yeah, go ahead and make a wisdom insight check.
I'd like to because it seems too good to be true.
Oh yeah.
Insight. Boom. Not so good. I switched them.
Seems to be telling the truth, but you do notice something though. He just figured you out for a liar, like while you were talking, and he kind of stops and goes, "Huh." And he stops for a second. And he says, "I'll go ahead and make sure that Agent 87's dismissal notice is forwarded here, Lord Kirkosler. I'm sure, if nothing else, your curiosity will be sated once it arrives. Is that fair?"
Well, here's the thing.
You kind of see him stop, and the cat kind of turn and look at you. Like, they're not even addressing the topic anymore, and they understand, and they're just like, fair?
I say, well, here's the thing. Like, since I've recently become Lord, I've noticed a lot of people have been coming to me, just to offer their services or to ask me to do something. So I'm thinking, it's very possible I could have run across this person and not even known it. So if you
Perfectly
did
fine.
send it here, I could give it to so and so if I saw him, but I don't know if I'd ever see this person. That's the thing.
Perfectly acceptable. So I think that's most of our business. I only have one last question for you, and one last matter that I would like to pursue. One of my witch hunters.
I'm not here.
One of my witch hunters was recently in this house, and he kind of looks around the room. I presume in this room. And was responsible for the death of the former lord of this house. This is private information, but I'm telling you, understanding that you are not only a member of my family, but an honorable noble who doesn't want to make too much in the way of waves regarding fighting against the conglomerate politically. Am I fair in that? Am I right in that assessment of you?
Oh yeah, I'm not looking to fight anybody.
Wellenbart was killed because he opposed the witch hunter, not because he was the target. He was trying to safeguard two renegade mages. They go by the surname Adams. They come from a village outside of the city of Rostagar, a small one where they participate in dark rituals, and they serve one of the demon princes of the Shedem, demon prince known as Durin Balcard, the demon prince of corruption. And they use their magics to corrupt unwilling vessels to become very powerful magical weapons that they try to use against the conglomerate. Because everyone has a beef with the conglomerate for some reason. I don't understand it. Do you?
Me?
I suppose...
No,
actually,
noble.
I apologize. I suppose you're kind of a harder case subject because renegades from within our own organization tried to elicit harm upon you. So that's not really a fair statement. I guess there is some reason why the conglomerate can be seen as a horrible entity. And for that I apologize, and we'll try and make it right. And ensure stuff like this does not happen in the future. But that said, one of their weapons was recently used by Agent 47 against the conglomerate's will. Her body was recovered and she was returned to life. And she was then held, detained, with a new detainment method. And then she was used via mind control by Agent 47 to try and kill Agent 87. That said, we're currently missing the weapon, a woman named Sayer, and we're also missing one of the agents of this Adams family that we're looking for. His name is Jacob Adams, and we're looking for him. Do you have any information about him? He did used to stay in this house under Wellenbart's care.
Oh, yeah, I know him. He was here when I stayed here.
Have you seen him recently? Last couple of days? We know you had an altercation with him.
I have not seen him recently.
Fair. Well, if you do see him, please report it to the conglomerate or at least a magistrate in the area, so that can be brought to our attention. If you do have Agent 87 and Yen Lauren in your care, please make sure that we are aware of it so we can forward the dismissal notice of the agent. A verbal statement for Yen Lauren's dismissal is all that is required, as his paperwork wasn't completed and officiated as an actual agent. I don't think he was destined to be one, but there was promise. Who knows? If he returns, we're more than happy to rehire him for any instances or jobs that we might have. And that is all. He looks at Connor and looks at the cat. The cat's kind of, at this point, has curled up into a ball and is just kind of sleeping. But when he kind of starts to stand up from his chair, the cat hops up onto his shoulder. Anything for me before I leave, Lord Kirkosler?
Well, I just wanted to say that the conglomerate has nothing to worry about my house, House Kurgosler, here in Rastegar. My goals do not interfere at all with yours, and I don't think yours would interfere with mine. So
our goals are just to keep the laws of magic, and as you are no magician, we have no problems.
All right, and I would get up and from behind the desk and shake his hand.
He shakes your hand.
See him to the door.
And in Gnomish, he says familiar dim prayer to dim, but it's altered and changed, and it's basically in reverse. And I'd like for you to make a intelligence religion check for me real quick.
Woohoo! I don't know if I'm even skilled at this, gentlemen. It's funny. Because I don't have medicine, and I don't have religion either. This will be fun. Alright, see what this is.
I'm guessing no.
Some
19!
cleric.
Yes! Every other
Nice.
Not
check
so
is good.
dim after all.
Aha!
So, what he says is dim favors the bold. The fickle finger of fate points to undim. And to your knowledge in the religion, luck is more important than lore. If you spend all your time studying and not doing anything, it doesn't matter. But what he says is he starts with the fickle finger of fate points to undim, whereas fortune dim favors the bold. And to your mind, the reversal of those two positions means that it's either kind of like a slight against your specific religion, but not direct and hateful, a misinterpretation of the translation, possibly because he's from a distant land, Jernaris, or he's a worshiper of Undim. And he starts to leave.
Oh man, you know what? Okay. It would be very hard for me when he did that not to immediately correct him, but knowing who he is and what he's doing, I would hold my tongue, even though I would want to tell him the correct way to say it. You know what I'm saying?
Based on your whole character and your whole persona, because you mentioned that, first off, I'm going to give you inspiration.
Yeah.
But second, I'm going to make you roll a wisdom saving throw.
Woohoo! Now that I should be okay at, gentlemen. Let's see.
The
Watch
urge,
him fail.
the urge to
No,
well
no,
actually
fail.
is present.
Fail.
16. That's not bad.
You hold your tongue.
All right.
Well,
Very
actually.
Well,
Well,
actually.
yeah. I almost do that.
Oh man.
Well, goodbye.
Hit him with that gnome
Goodbye.
splain, that priest-splaining. But okay, he leaves. And so does Connor, and so does the cat. Alright, you guys tell me what happens.
Gonna go back downstairs and, find out what happens.
Nobody's there.
Nobody's there.
Yeah, I go downstairs, I
Because
look, I'm
they're
like,
hidden behind an illusion.
what happened to everybody?
We
Brock's-
disappeared!
Well, hold on. Before you go downstairs,
You're not here.
Kevin, before you go downstairs,
Yeah.
Gilbert's in the Grand Hall. Broxcar, they don't really pay you much attention as they're leaving. Do you pay them any mind?
No, I'll shut the door behind him and I'll turn to Gilbert.
I'll say,
And I'll ask you, is Jacob Adams here?
Jacob Adams, come see for yourself. And I would lock the front door, and I'd post one of my guards there.
There's already one there.
Okay, and then we would go downstairs.
Okay.
And as we were walking down the stairs, I would say, boy, this has been one crazy day. I got, I kind of explain, briefly summarize what we talked about.
Rox already knows. He overheard.
Yeah, I heard it all.
Cool.
I don't trust.
But look what I got. He delivered my mail, and I'm invited to a wedding. It's pretty cool. It's a noble wedding, too. I'll tell you about it more later when everybody's together.
It's a
And
royal
then we go
wedding.
down. It's the royal wedding. It's so awesome. It's great. I'll have to like scan this and email it to you guys or something. Anyways, it's really cool.
That is.
You did this yourself, or
Good
did you
to
have
be
your
a noble.
wife
I did it by hand.
That's good. You have decent handwriting.
Yeah.
Looks good. All right, cool. Anyways, so we go downstairs. We look in there and we don't see anything, right? Because it's an illusion.
Correct, but you do hear voices, but they probably stop when you guys approach.
And then I would say, don't worry, guys. The mage year has left. Everything's safe. We can talk freely. And boy, I learned some interesting stuff up there. And I would kind of give the summary to these people of what happened. So I don't know if Adams would be able to keep his mouth shut when I'm telling them what he's saying about Adams, but you'd have to tell me that. You know what I mean?
He's actually kind of been regulated into a position where he's just kind of like sweating and just kind of focusing on like what you guys are talking about. He's not interjecting or in being included.
Okay. So after I would drop all that on everybody, what does everybody think about that shit? I'm interested in knowing what you think.
Do you give a play-by-play of all that went down?
Yep, pretty much. I'd tell about my masterful deceit, and then toward the end how I think he kind of could tell I was lying, but I'm not sure.
I turn to the Adams and I say, could that have messed up the ancient protections of this house?
What's that? You said when he was invited?
The reverse blessing.
Oh, no. No, there would have to be some powerful ritual that was done to do that. This house is pretty powerful. Lord Wellenbart was pretty savvy in the ways of Din and religion.
So, how much time would this ritual need?
Days.
But now that he's been invited in, does he have to perform it within under invitation, or does he now have access to undo the ritual?
I'll be honest. I don't know. My father would. He would know, but that's a couple days away, travel, and we don't have like communicators or anything. We don't have anything like that. We'd have to travel.
What sort of protection is necessarily on this place?
Divine protection. Lord Kurgosler, you know.
Yeah, I know. When I was staying here, it was basically this manor house had some ancient protections on it, so whoever was leading it would be able to be more powerful. So I have, since I got here, haven't been here very long, but I've kind of checked to make sure everything seems fine to me, and I seem to be having control of it. So I don't think there's a problem here with the manor house. I think the
Right, but
problem
you're saying
could
it's...
be. Oh, I was just saying the problem would be if we would invite him in and let him, do a ritual or something, or if this Jacob Adams were to do a ritual down here. I don't know what he could do down here. I'm not sure about that.
My Lord
It's
Kurgosler.
more of a divine magic than an arcane magic in nature, though, so not necessarily something I'd know too much about then.
Yeah.
And my lord, I apologize. I know that the house has its own protections, but since I wasn't invited into the house again by the new lord of it, I made this magical rune here to protect me. That's all. If you are affording me guest right, I will tear down this sacrilege.
Okay, great. We'll determine that soon.
That's a hard no.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you an invitation yet, but I'm not saying I'm not going to later. Let's talk about this. So, you guys, it seemed to me that he was putting on a really good lie about how great he is, but I'm not really sure. And you guys know what's going on better. Could it be possible that he could be somehow good, and yet everybody else around him is bad, I don't think that's
Who,
possible.
the Majir?
Yeah, the Major. I think he's.
No.
I think he's a
No.
bad guy.
Okay, yeah.
He's
fine,
one.
so
No.
he-
He is
he's
a
in charge of
bad
the
mother
conglomerate.
effer.
If
Yeah.
anything, he's already been like possessed by a demon or something like that, at least.
You see at the mention of possessed by a demon as a negative, Adam's kind of like, oh, it kind of like looks away.
Two things.
We're not down with demons in here. Oh, I'm out.
One, I don't remember you mentioning too much, but what was Valette's whole backstory with 47? Like, was there some kind of
No.
rivalry or anything? Alright, so Valette would point out that that's a complete falsehood. If anything, we were compatriots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's no bad blood between us.
No.
And two, I turned to Adams and I'm like, and would you please expound upon this possessed by demons, Lord of Corruption?
He does nothing. He starts covering up his. He like pulls his sleeves down, so you can't see the tattoo. Nothing.
Who's
The
Doran?
Dark Mark.
Who's Doran Bolkhart?
Durin
Who?
Valkard is a
Who?
demon prince.
I would ask Adams.
Oh, Durin Valkard. I guess in for a penny, in for a pound. Durin Valkard is the demon prince of corruption who I serve. The right that runs through my blood is powered by the Dark Lord.
So
Well,
you're
that's not
someone we
good.
should trust because why?
Not at all. You have no reason to trust me. If you were to put me down
Because he's pretty.
here, it would be a mercy. If you were to turn me into the conglomerate, I would curse your name until the day I died, which would be very shortly thereafter, and my soul, bound inside of my servant corpse, would continue to curse your name for eternity. And I would hope that the winged, blighter would come to you in your sleep and torture your minds for eternity as well.
Ren raises an eyebrow and he says, "Have no fear, Adams. We're more merciful than vengeful."
Good. So if you're going to exact justice upon me, do it. If not, understand, we did not intend to kill your friend. We intended
John,
to use
just-
her as a weapon.
This is a question. Do I actually know anything at all about demons, or do I just spout stuff because it sounds good?
Intelligence religion check.
All right.
It sounds good in quotation marks. That sound.
Intelligence check.
Oh, good one.
You know,
That's a 21.
you know quite a bit about Durin Balkard. He was a very powerful sorcerer and mage from the old nation of Meridia, who ascended to demon princedom in the Third Age after he tricked the Meridian Senate into basically killing themselves, and then he found it upon himself to form a group to butcher a Demilich named Talk. That Demilich is also worshipped as a god in Jernaris, Talk, as a god of magic, but not anywhere else. But yeah, then Duran went into the Hells and found a demon to act as his servant, basically as his mediator in corrupting the god or the demon prince of corruption. He then went into the heavens, into Celestia, grabbed a solar and ripped his wings off and bound them to himself, which is why his symbol is typically a pale man with a set of wings kind of floating behind. He forged a halo of eyes, each plucked from a different type of angel, which would circle his head. And I believe that his staff was crafted from some other ripped up portion of a holy creature. And after forging himself in this armor of destroyed angelic beings, he basically negotiated his corruption onto the demon prince of corruption, and then killed him and took him. And his
That's
power.
badass.
Yeah, no, thanks, Dieter, for that wonderful, beautiful character. And, yeah, he's a fucking crazy dude, but now he's a demon prince, the demon prince of corruption. And people who worship him are typically wizards. He is basically seen in high regard. He's the second most worshipped entity in Meridia, second only to Alvanusero, the dark god of sorcery and undeath.
Interesting.
Ren would turn to Gilbert and say, I think that Adams here can be useful to us. He seems to have knowledge that we don't have, but he needs to stay here. We need to keep him under guard, and he needs to agree not to leave and to follow your wishes.
I'm not fucking leaving here.
Well, here's an interesting thing. I agree with you because he's like a weapon. He doesn't believe what we believe, but he is a weapon. So he could be used against the conglomerate.
Weapon is no use if stays in safe.
This is true. But
He says your ends are against the conglomerate as well?
who, mine?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
I never said that.
You just said that.
Of course we're against the conglomerate.
I
It's
meant
a bunch of
like,
shitty assholes.
in general.
You
Like,
can't just gaslight every NPC, Gilbert.
Yeah, me and my family are basically not against the conglomerate.
Zach.
I have to publicly say.
Did you notice how, like, the longer he kept on bullshitting, like, I was like, no, he catches on.
Yeah.
Catches on,
The
Put it when
initial,
you're ahead, Gilbert.
the initial lie is
So
good.
anyways, maybe we should talk about this. Maybe we should allow him to stay here for a while and talk about this in private, unless you guys want to ask him questions and stuff.
Well, wait, is there
I
any
would
reason
not
why you
afford
wouldn't
him
let
the
him
protection of your household.
Pardon
If
me?
he stays here, it is as an unwelcomed guest. That is what I suggest.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, of course the former
I believe
conglomerate-
our friend with good eyes suggests we keep him as prisoner, no?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. But that could
But
be a
wait, why-
problem in and of itself, because then he could start to try to escape. And
No, he'd be he doesn't want
I
to
don't
leave.
want to leave.
He'd be under guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
why
bit-
wouldn't we keep him? Just like, seriously, why wouldn't we? Is there any good reason not to keep him?
In case the conglomerate finds out he's here, then they'll come down on us. But
Well, this could put
General morality?
Gilbert's
Sounds like some
position,
of us pretty hard.
Look, if you
Gilbert's position in jeopardy.
afford
Yeah,
me
we
guests
wanna
right, they
do
won't be able to find me. Otherwise, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to continue to try and maintain this ritual. But I'm running out of candles. I'm running out of paint. I'm gonna have to start cutting myself to do this.
all right, let me talk with my friends here about this, not in front of you, and that way we can figure out how we're gonna do
He
this.
just starts laughing. Yeah, sure. Great.
So does yet Lauren! What does it matter?
Yeah, honestly, Sam really doesn't give a shit at this point. He's just sort of like, fine, whatever, let him stay.
Gilbert, why don't you bring him some food, get him something to drink, and we'll get this settled.
John,
okay.
does he have like an obvious like spellbook and components pouch with him?
No.
Hmm.
Neither did Sayer.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're not
right,
sorcerers.
different kind of juju. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the
Yeah.
blood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're blood hunters. They're not wizards or spellcasters like that. They created their own kind of rites. And thanks, Matt Mercer. If you ever watch this, it's a great class. It does have a problem with frailty.
Especially when you don't
Doesn't-
Little
Constitution.
problem with frailty.
Not the sturdiest of classes.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing it all on your own.
We mollymocked ours. It's cool. Anyway, you guys move aside to have a silent conversation without him in earshot. Go ahead.
But if you guys don't think it matters, then we can go back in and talk in front of them.
Didn't we do this in the other campaign? We like went off, and then we went off.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Pretty common practice.
I mean, why don't you just invite him to just like stay here? I mean, I can't see any reason why he shouldn't stay here. He seems like a generally nice guy, except for that whole demon thing.
Of
And I mean-
corruption.
Yeah, of corruption.
Okay, fair point. But still, we could use him against the conglomerate. Think about it. Which one's the greater evil, the conglomerate or some random demon lord?
Of corruption. Ah, boy. The good in me is telling
I
me
don't
that
think
this
we
is
should
pretty
choose lesser of evils in this situation?
It's a solid question,
There's
though.
always a lesser of evils to choose, and personally, anything that can kill the conglomerate, I think, is the lesser of two evils.
I don't believe we're
Red-
dealing with anything lesser here, though.
Yeah, he seems pretty like he had some pretty good strings he can pull.
Ren says, I can't believe it, but I agree with Sam. And looks at Yen Lauren. Sometimes you have to work. You have to work.
Okay, well here's the thing. If he stays, he would have to stay there, in that room, hidden, because I never know who's going to come over looking to talk with me or whatever.
He says, he's not listening, but you hear him interject because he is listening, and he says from the other chamber, he says, "As long as you keep bringing me food and water, I'll stay wherever you want."
Okay, and
We can bring a bed down here.
Bring a couch, bring a bed. It's no big deal.
Okay, if we let you stay, you have to give us information on the on the conglomerate that we can use.
I don't have any. I gave you all the information I got.
All right, and you have to. What are you gonna do when you do finally get out of this area alive? Are you never coming back? Or are you coming back to kick their butt? You know.
I'm gonna go back home, and hopefully my father and I can work together. Maybe I'll sire a child, and maybe in a generation we'll forge another weapon to send back into the city to take down the greater evil. The actually greater evil.
In a generation, you're saying you're going to deal with this.
Yeah, he's looking there for long.
Okay, guys, fucking cut him loose. He's not worth the time.
Sounds like it.
I need it now. I need it now.
Yeah, that's kind of a good point. All he's doing here is
hack the planet, not slow crawl to justice.
Yeah.
We need
that's a real
revolution now.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So now I'm for maybe kicking him out. I mean, maybe he can't do anything for us if he has such a long plan.
Look, there are two ways I'm leaving this place. Only two. Two total ways. Dead, or through the Idealists Underground, which we were trying to negotiate.
Right.
So, unless you're going to bring an Idealist in here to talk to me about getting us out of here secretly, I don't really care.
Wait, look at my face. I don't know any Idealists.
Sam.
I mean, I could talk to some people maybe if we really need me to, but I'm kind of on the out and out right now. They're not really happy with me from the last time that we had any dealings.
They really are.
They are fucking not.
I can't wait for you to open that package. Anyway.
Kicked out of the Idealists.
I didn't say that. Nobody said that. That's not a thing that was said.
Water might say that.
Said that.
That's
Someone
for next
heavily
week.
implied that.
Right. It's just been implied.
Anyway.
All right.
Real quick.
They're making this real tough.
Note, Yen, are you kind of standing near the group, away from the group? Like, where are you positioned, really?
I imagine it's a small huddle, and Yen Lauren is like leaning against a wall, slightly away from it, because everyone knows that he doesn't care.
Is your owl in your familiar pocket, or do you leave him upstairs?
Pretty sure you killed him in the last encounter.
You haven't resuscitated him. That's right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I haven't resuscitated him because I was going to do that in the morning.
Gotcha. I was just trying to remember where your familiar is at for no reason whatsoever. Okay. Anybody have anything they want to do today? Anything else they want to talk to Adams about? Anything they want to actively do today? Because remember, the day was nearly coming to a close. It was late afternoon when you guys arrived here.
I think we need to decide what we're going to do with him. And then I'd want to talk to Gilbert about making sure that all of his people, his guards and his household staff, are truly loyal to him and are not actually informants.
Okay. At about this time where you're kind of doing that, and then Gilbert's kind of, focusing up. Gilbert, we had discussed something on the side that you were doing. You wanted to bring people together and have a discussion with them. That happens.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to bring my servants, all the servants of the house together and kind of tell them some stuff. Tell them what to do in an emergency, that sort of thing. So, do you want me to talk about it now or no?
Oh, you don't have to. But if anybody's paying attention, basically what you'll see is that Lord Kurgosler basically rallies everyone in the house that is
Gross.
currently, yeah, I know, right? Currently his servants, and basically has a conversation with them, discussing with them some matters.
Right.
If you're overhearing, it just sounds like he's making sure that they're aware that a lot of weird shit's happening, and it may be the case that if they arrive, they just need to tell you guys about it instead of trying to engage with it directly.
Yeah, what I was telling them basically was if somebody comes and attacks, do hit and run tactics, basically raise the alarm when we're here, because if you try to fight some of the stuff that we're up against, you'll just die. And it's like, we don't want that to happen. So
Great
that's
for morale. Hey guys, new boss here. Just want to let you know, like, you're probably gonna die if you ever meet any of the visitors that come here. So don't.
Surprisingly,
No, that's not. If something attacks, you raise the alarm and you do hit and run tactics. That's what you say.
the soldiers are kind of gruff about it. Like the soldiers are kind of gruff about it, but like they seem to understand. The archers are absolutely on board.
Yeah, they're like hit and run tactics. That's an archer.
The lore keeper explains it to the soldiers, and you kind of see the look in their eyes kind of change as the lore keeper explains it to them. But the lore keeper seems to understand exactly why that's the case. And once they're told about it, they seem to understand a bit more. And for those of you who are paying attention to the circumstances, and if you ask the lore keeper, what you find out is that this house isn't just a house. It's a sanctioned temple of the god Dim. And because he is the leader of this stronghold, his divine powers here are enhanced. If there's a fight at this house, Lord Kurgosler is like a beast.
I'm a healing beast.
Also, John,
Yeah, what's up?
I'm going to take part of the evening to transfer the third level scroll that I got from the Idealist into my spell book. So that'll be the ink that I bought. And
Okay. You'd also note, this would be something for Kevin to tell you, I guess. But in Lord Wellenbart's affairs, there are actually reagents enough for 500 gold pieces worth of inks for magical translation.
I need it! Tell me about it, Kevin!
They can be used either for the creation of scrolls or used for the creation of new pages in a spellbook.
Well, guys, we have some stuff we have to buy. And by we, I mean me. I really need to buy a warehouse for Hadrian and those god-forsaken night sharks. So that's going to be the most important thing, and I have to keep up this. But anything additional to that, we can talk about. I'm willing to share my inks and stuff.
And
the only thing that I need is spell ink.
Spell ink. All right. Also, this is what I'm going to do. This is what my decision has been. I am going to. Listen, I'm going to give additional candles and shit to that guy down there and feed him and say, you are not officially welcome in my house. Keep up your ritual. Get the hell out of here as soon as you can. I mean you no harm, but I'm not going to invite you to my place.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm either, if you're not going to feed me and you're not going to water me,
I'll feed you and water you too.
Then I'm going to be here for a long time until you guys on the outside are able to get me in contact with the Idealists so I can get to their underground railroad out of the city back to my home. That's the deal. I'm not walking out of this house outside of this protective circle unless someone casts some sort of spell that lets me do it, or you find me that passage. Find me a person who can negotiate with me on how to get me out of here. I need to speak to an Idealist who can cast some magical aura blocking spell and help me get to a tunnel and passageway out of this city. There's networks all throughout this city, but I don't know my way and I'd get lost. The Idealists know their way around that way. That's what I need.
Yep. All right. We will
John,
do that.
While this is going on, I'm upstairs on my communicator saying, Wilson. So will anyone in the Idealist start talking to me again anytime soon?
No response.
He's like, oh baby, I'm sorry, man. I really didn't mean to do that.
You know that he's staying at Ren Kenai's house, though, if you want to go talk to him directly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
You'd
true.
need Ren, but yeah. What did you say you were doing, Yen Lauren?
I'm assuming I'm going back to my tea and wine.
Okay. When you arrive there, what you notice is that up on the mantle, you see some movement, and when you look to it, you realize it's your owl.
Snowflake? How you come?
It flies down onto the table near the tea. The teapot kind of jostles as it lands there, and you notice that it has something in its little claw. Looks like a little piece of paper.
I'll take little piece of paper.
It sets it into your hand, and then it kind of moves its way towards its familiar pocket.
Great.
You're kind of confused.
Very.
You have a letter. Open up your package
Yeah.
and go pop that bad boy open. You do not have to read it aloud. That is for you to just ingest as you please. I'm going to cut from you and go back to someone else. Broxgar, you're still hanging around with like the larger group, right?
Yep.
Okay. And I just want to make sure the larger group at Bind is... Gosh, it's kind of splintered off a bit. Ren, what are you doing?
I guess I would probably be with Yen Lauren at this point,
Okay.
and maybe Sam.
Okay. So that sounds like it's the larger group.
Yeah.
Sam's off working on.
Oh, Sam's by himself. So yeah, Lauren's
Sam's
in.
working on a spell book.
Yeah, Lauren's in the entertainment room, and then that's probably where you'd be. You see that his bird kind of flies over to him, and Yen Lauren starts kind of reading something, and then is doing his own thing. Broxgar's in there. I presume Volette is in there as well, right?
Yeah, probably off to the side,
Okay.
silent, thinking.
What's the plan? You guys just going to turn in for the evening for next morning, or?
I'll approach Jim Lauren with one of the books I've been looking at stuff. The book has an illustration of Colgar Blaze Hatchet with the dragon scale over his face and all that cool stuff. Is this the ghost you saw the other day?
Before he comes over, as soon as I finish that letter, John, it'd be like prestidigitation, and the thing would go up in flames in my hands, like just.
Okay.
And I'm assuming he comes over, and yes, it is, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Very interesting.
this is man. This is yes. Do you know this man?
He's an ancestor, a hero in my family from many ages. He's been dead for a long time. It's very interesting that he's tied to this weapon. And I would start asking you details about the other ghosts as much as you can remember about, so I can look up their information as well.
Yeah, I'll give you everything that I know, and I'm also willing to help with that research as well. I'm assuming Yen Lauren's like talented enough I could even like mock up sketches and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I would say, based on the descriptions, the one that would probably be the least focused on would be, or at least the two that were least focused on would be Valette's and Sam's. You're not getting a lot of description pieces from them because they were so far away you had to focus on them during that sequence.
Right.
But basically, an old mage with clocks on his garb, and yeah, that one's not too hard to reference. There aren't many chronomancers in the histories, and you guys are very easily capable of finding out that that is an individual named Cardiff, a chronomancer from 500 years ago, who traveled around with a group of great heroes.
Like they existed.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
The Sam one, you're not. It sounds like some sort of brigand. You're not sure whose Sam's one was. Valette sounds like some sort of knight. You're not sure who that one was. It could be any half-elf knight or human knight. You're not sure. It was human, actually. And then elf lady. That one's a hard one for Gilbert's. Blaze Hatches is already good. You got that one there. And yeah, Byakko Seishon Subeda is not hard to find out. And you also learn a bit more about Ketsujin. Ketsujin was originally a nameless sword that was wielded by Byakko Seishon Subeda. And from your understanding in the histories that are some are present here, because like I mentioned, there's a lot of Seiyujin documents present in this house because of Vestergaard's proximity to that province. But what you learn is that Byakko Seishon Subeda, toward the ends of his life, basically committed to the restoration of the imperial reign over the reign of the daimyo. He wanted to make sure that there was a neutral, balancing position. He wanted to become the emperor himself, but understanding that he wasn't going to be able to get all of the daimyo to agree to a neutral balance, someone who could mediate between the lot, what he did was he demanded that each daimyo make a request of him. No matter what the request was, he would engage in it. He would do it no matter what. Anything. Some of the daimyo requested him to defeat enemies of theirs, and in some aspects they were enemies that were, mutually like I hate, person hates me, we both want to kill each other, so he'd kill both, leaving those two daimyo headless, and then explaining to their heirs, that's what happens when you're hostile towards each other. He would explain to people who requested wealth from him that the wealth of their lands was something that could be used, and basically creating boundaries for those people and understanding between those people. But it came down to a point where his friend, who had become a daimyo on his own, one Hito Kaori, decided to ask a favor that he couldn't refuse, and he asked for Byakko Seishon Subeda to commit seppuku. Byakko took his nameless wakizashi and performed the 3 cuts, killing himself, and stating that his son with his wife, Baiken Masami, at that time Byakko Masami, would rule as the emperor. And Hito Kaori after that left the country, not expecting his honorable friend to actually go through with the activity, and basically proving to his friend Kaori that he was the most honorable man that had ever lived. The sword was stained blood red, and from that point on it just descended throughout the histories as a very lucky omen to have. It was gifted to you, if I remember correctly, by Shadow Ren.
Sad.
Cardiff, there's not much lore on him other than he was responsible for the ending of the Curse of Devesh Neranon. And Kolgar Blaze Hatchet, there's plenty of data, just lots and lots of stories about the Blaze Hatchet clan. The woman from the Crane, because I discussed not too much beyond, not too much here, anyways, regarding that. And then Sam and Willette's weapons, not enough description to get a specific.
Cool. Starting to compile all of this information
The
together.
lore keeper, perfect.
Somebody's got to do it, and it ain't gonna be me.
While those two are studying, doing book shit, does Ren and Sam want to take a quick trip over to Ren's office to check on Winston?
Sure.
I suppose I can. Writing.
Okay.
I mean, it's up to you, Sam. I think Winston's your man, right?
How are you going to get there? Are you traveling via... Do you still have the auto carriage? Yeah, you still have the auto carriage. Are you going to do it?
Place it so I can just have. I can have Ren drive me. I'll sit in the back and you can be my chauffeur.
You're both really bad at driving.
We're both really bad at driving. We could
I've
have you
never
and
driven
Lauren
before in
drive
my
us.
life.
Yeah, Lauren's studying.
And Lauren's really good at driving.
And he's super busy studying books.
Yeah.
Here's the
How
question.
long of a walk is it?
Wait. Does Lord Kergosler have a valet that can drive us?
No.
That's a good question.
It does have
Do
a
I?
valet if you want to try and trick her into driving.
I have.
Yeah, I'm not
No.
going to a valet to drive it. I want a valet.
Got
What
it.
about? What about?
Sips wine. Put the pinky up. Put that pinky up.
What about Kayla Fink?
sips the Mountain Dew. Pinky up.
Oh, she's kind of a tailor, but also
Yes.
a gnome. So
No, she doesn't drive. You don't have to walk. You could take trolleys. It would probably be
Oh,
at about
you
an
guys could take-
hour and a half to get there, and an hour and a half back.
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, it's late afternoon, getting close to evening. By the time you get back, it'll probably be evening time, so that's fine. Okay. The two of you hop into a trolley and start heading down that way. You notice that coming from a car further up comes an individual onto this car. Ren, you recognize them immediately. It's Tybalt. He kind of gives you a look, like a sideways glance, and then he kind of just drops something in your lap as he walks past you and just continues walking away. Please open letter number 2. God, I hope I got this right.
Letter number 2.
More than one letter?
If it's really small writing, then it's nailed. If it's big writing, it's the wrong one. Close it immediately.
Close. Don't look.
Don't read it.
Really tiny writing, just itsy bitsy.
Quite small.
Big one
Yes.
literally says, "Don't read this writing."
You're right.
Perfect. And there's like a really fancy signature.
He gets out the old person thing.
Oh, he's gonna need it.
Nice. The magnifying glass. That's
It's
awesome.
intentionally small. All
How
right,
old is Ren?
Sam, you see some nonsense happen. Keen eyes. Ha! Got him. Sam, you notice this activity happen, and he kind of like starts unfolding it and taking a look at it.
I'm going to not say anything and just sort of like, are you kidding me? I'm gonna fucking look over his shoulder and try to see what he's looking at.
I'd hide it from him.
Okay. Make a perception check.
I have a wisdom of 0. This is going to go great, guys. That's a
don't-
9.
Oh.
I don't have to
Does
say.
anyone have inspiration they can give me? Because the other one was a nat 20.
I have inspiration, but I'm not giving it to you.
Come on, give it to me. You know you want me to read your mail.
But take your time on that. By the time you get to the place, you probably have had time to consume it. If you try and do quick perspective to see if Tybalt leaves the car or like exits the trolley where you're located, you don't see him, even with your super perception check. Yeah, that seal's important. Anyways, you move over to your establishment and start heading that way. And yeah, looks like the lights are on. Looks like the establishment is currently open. You enter in, the bell rings.
Yeah.
Effie walks in, and right behind her, Winston walks in. They both are covered with grease and dirt and soot. It looks like they've been doing some very heavy work in the back on some sort of gadget or device. And she goes, "Oh, hey, boss. Your mail's on the desk. Open letter number 1 if you want." Kind of worked out pretty good for you.
I would say, hey, Effie, I'm glad you're doing okay. You're getting Winston to help.
Yeah, we've been pretty busy all evening.
So I'd like to say, if he doesn't try to take his mail right away, I'm going to try to steal the letter.
I got it.
Yeah, that one was delivered from Old Rostigar Borough. I don't think it's anything important. Shrugs. We're working on something in the back. That's pretty interesting. Could be useful.
Yeah, let's go check it out.
Okay.
You go check it out. Leave Winston and me here alone. We're going to
Huh?
discuss things of no importance.
He kind of walks
Take
over
the
to you.
letters with me.
Oh, okay, boss. And they head into the back. Matt, it's just you and Winston. Winston says, "What is it, boss?"
Right. Winston, I tried to use a communicator earlier and no one answered.
Oh shit!
Ah.
Yeah, it was really loud in the back. We were working on this device.
Yeah, I don't care about that. There's someone apparently that's at the you remember the short blue fellow?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's someone at his house who's apparently looking for like the idealists and a way out. And I'm kind of on like not the greatest terms with everyone there right now, except for like you and all the other people who care about me. So, you.
Yeah. Well. Oh,
So. So I'm just wondering, could you like maybe like send someone by the place at some point? I can pass you the address and.
Yeah. What's the address,
that
boss?
sort of
I'll do what I can.
Yeah, the address is. I don't know what the address is, John.
You tell him what the address is.
Right.
He kind of nods his head. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. I'll get right on it right away, boss.
And Winston.
Huh.
Winston, make sure you tell them to be inconspicuous. Like, we don't want people to know that, like, we're going to this house, especially since, there might be other people, nudge nudge, watching, nudge nudge, who the idealists have, nudge nudge, problems with, nudge nudge.
You talking about the night sharks?
Yes, Winston, I'm talking about the night. I was trying not to say it out loud.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Oh, people. He kind of nods his head. I gotcha. And he like leans in, and just is like closing both of his eyes. You think he's trying to wink? He's like,
Winston.
got
Winston, who am I? Winston, stop trying to wink. Who am I talking about? Just so I know that you actually understood what I'm saying.
You think that if somebody goes into that neighborhood where this house is, and he pulls out the piece of paper with the address, that we need to make sure they're not easily identifiable because there's night sharks around them parts, and yep, right.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure you got it. Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Well, I think what probably would do best is trying to think here, boss.
Winston, thinking was never your strong suit. You should call and tell someone and have them do.
Yeah, but who do you think would be good? I know that. Well, yeah, okay. I think I know who I'll ask.
Okay, that's good, because I'm trying to find my NPC list and I'm having trouble finding it right.
Okay. Yep. Okay, I got it. I know what I'm doing. I got a plan.
Okay. That's good.
You know that when
Just
Winston
found my list. Nog might be the best, but I don't know.
when you see him get like a determined look on his face, you know that he's got a plan, and you're pretty sure that he's probably going to go for Nog.
For Nog.
Yeah, the half orc, right?
Nog's the gnome. The half orc.
Oh, the gnome. Right.
Yeah, the half orc is Yar.
Yar, that's right.
I have my notes here. I found them.
But yeah, he'll probably go for Nog the gnome because he was kind of like your right hand man until this all went down. But yeah, although Winston's always been your most loyal. Anywho, in the back, you see that Effie has been working on a very strange-looking device to you. It just looks like a series of tubes. Really, you're not even sure what it is. And she says, "Yeah,
It's a computer.
no, this is pretty good stuff, boss.
It's the internet.
It is the internet." No.
It's .com.
Just a system of tubes.
Well, this will go in the engine and the auto carriage, boss. And if we can get that put in there, it will allow you to kind of increase the speed of it a bit, a couple of times. It's a very similar principle to like, the loaders, how they have overcharge devices. It's similar to that. And so that's how it'll work. And once we get it...
really cool, Effie. Can you make something that would drive itself?
Not without magic, boss. I don't think that's a possibility.
You want a Tesla?
I want like a self-driving car.
So I don't have to drive it. So I don't have to drive it.
I can't drive it.
Did you bring the
That
car?
was
Take
a
a freaking trolley.
We can try and put this in there.
Okay.
Do you have the car?
No, I didn't try because I can't drive.
You should start practicing.
55.
So if I practice, I'll get better at it.
Yeah, practice.
Yeah.
Okay. But isn't that dangerous?
Yeah.
Okay, I see how it is.
That's how you live life, boss. You didn't start off as a great investigator. You had to
Or
investigate.
did he?
Yeah, or man, yeah, no, clearly not.
She kind of just shakes her head. Well, if you're around these parts, I'm gonna call it a day, I think. And if Winston can help out tomorrow, and you can drive up this way, we can put it in the car or carriage. It's no problem. And you and her start heading back to the front. And Winston is heading towards the door, and he looks over his shoulder, back at you guys, and says, "Effie, probably won't be able to come in tomorrow, or maybe for the next couple of days." And she goes, "Oh, really? I was really enjoying your company. It's good to have a strong set of arms like yours around." Winston kind of goes, "Thanks." And then Effie says, "Well, when you get done with whatever you're doing, you come on back, okay?" And he says, "Thanks, Effie." And then he walks out.
Gilbert would be jealous.
Yeah.
You know she's not interested in him.
I know, but he would still be jealous.
Right?
Gilbert's a
She
dork.
hasn't. Has she met me since I've become a lord? I don't know.
She doesn't like men. She does.
She may
Or
like
maybe if
money.
he has enough money.
Yeah, she
Oh
may like
God,
money.
you guys are terrible and
I
wrong.
know,
No,
I'm
right?
joking.
No,
It is
no,
so
no.
wrong.
I
Anyways,
mean, who doesn't like money?
Yeah, who doesn't like money?
yeah, okay. Well, topic change. So Gilbert, while all that's going
All right.
on, you weren't really doing much of anything. Is there anything you want to do towards the downtime of the evening?
I would like to call over my gnomish ambassador, Rolf Panzinger.
Nobody
Please.
likes Panzinger.
People at home, please do not Google that name. That's just a name.
That's fine.
Right? And I would ask him. I would give him 300 gold pieces, and I would say, you need to buy 300 gold pieces worth of diamond dust.
Yeah.
He's the guy who does purchasing for me, right?
Yeah.
I'd give it to him and say, you need to buy that because if one of my companions dies, I need to be able to revivify them.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. No problem.
Right.
Okay.
That's $300. 300 gold pieces, that's an investment in life. That's what I call
You
that.
just want the diamond. I can get it tomorrow, I think.
The accent, John, is so wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, the accent is so wrong. Yes, that would be great.
I will try it tomorrow.
From
Yep. Okay. Very good.
let's see,
The markets are
anything
closed
else?
right now, so I can't do it now. Well,
You have to do it tomorrow.
that's right.
I get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're the best, Rolf.
He leaves.
All right, cool.
Anything else?
So I wanted to do that. I already did my long-range communication to back home,
Mhm.
right? With my status,
Yes.
you know, being a noble and all that awesome stuff.
Yes.
You know, I might have mentioned my friends. Who knows? Probably not, but it's possible.
Yes. Anything
And
else?
then what else? Next on our list, guys. I'm thinking to myself, we really have to look for a warehouse. Would Rolf know anything about real estate? Would he
He's
be a
already
warehouse
left.
person? He's already left. I'll ask him next time I see him. All right, that's about it then. Oh,
Alright.
is there anybody around that I could talk to? Is there like rock scars around, right? What about Valette?
Broxgar and Yen Lauren are currently engaged in research.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Tim walked away, and I said I'd get back to
All
her.
right,
That's
I'll
fine.
pop my head in to
Valette-
the other guys and be like, here, I'm trying to like workshop stuff, guys. This is one thing I'm thinking of. If we're trying to
They
gather
don't pay
support-
attention to you. They're totally focused on the books. But Valette kind of wanders over, and looks like she's in the Crossfire.
All right, never mind. I'll talk later when I got everybody's attention.
No, I'm saying like you wanted to talk to Valette about it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll talk to Valette about it. Hey, Valette, you're the one who does a lot of the thinking around here, and that's kind of like, you know, supposed to be to make you feel good. And
Me and
then,
Matt are making the same face.
yes, basically, Valette, this is what I'm thinking. We're trying to gain support from people, right? And so far, we're getting night sharks, we're getting idealists, different people on our side. listen to this idea. I got an idea to maybe gain some favor with some nobles. It involves us, number one, throwing a party. So it's going to cost a little bit. But what I'm thinking is we've spent some money to make some money. We have a party here at the house. We invite all the nobles over. Maybe, you know what happens at parties? Sometimes people hook up and then you become best friends. So all I'm saying is we could get like a lot of friends this way, or we could also piss a lot of people off. So we'd have to be really careful with how we went about it, you know.
You hear from behind you the tailor. She says, "Oh, like a housewarming party. That's a really good idea, my lord." And she walks away.
Yeah, like I'm a new noble. It's like a new noble housewarming party.
Do you mind
We
if
gotta get this jerk out from our basement first, so.
Do you mind if I use some of the funds to acquire you some fine silks for your eventual attire for that party, my lord?
Wait a minute. How much funds are we
Wait.
talking about here? Are we talking about
Couple of hundred.
couple hundred gold? I don't know. That could be cutting into my warehouse money. That's a number one priority on my. Well, maybe not number one, but it's up there in the top 5.
I'll do some research and I'll get back to you with some prices, my lord.
Okay, yeah, do that. Do some research.
And she kind of nods
Kevin,
Yeah.
and walks away.
Shia LaBeouf.
What?
Remember the wise words of Shia LaBeouf and just do it.
Do it. Shia LaBeouf, you're right. Yeah, that's sad.
After the seamstress tailor lady leaves, Vlet just sort of poses the question, and what specific alliances are we seeking to target? What groups of power? Also, we might, it's not, the Night Sharks we are trying to, but the conglomerate we've had, I don't know if we can quite consider them allies yet.
Oh, you mean the Night Sharks?
No,
Oh, yeah,
the idealists, not the
yeah,
conglomerate.
yeah, you're right. You're right. That's kind of a stretch right now. We were hoping somebody we know might be able to pull some strings over there, but who knows if that'll pan out. Maybe we'll have to. I don't know. We'll have to look at this gang thing, the big picture, and see if that's the right way to go, or maybe the nobles. See, the problem with the nobles is they have a lot to lose. They're rich guys, you know, but they also have small. Some of them have small, forces, but they're not going to want to send them against the conglomerate. But they may help us in other ways, you know, by allowing us access and giving us secrets and stuff like that.
As we saw with the Night Sharks, I think we must not try and use the conglomerate as a tool to threaten them with by what they could lose, but try to look towards what they seek to gain by joining us.
Right.
Because as the Night Sharks shown, they're okay with the status quo as is. We need to incentivize them to help us. Likewise, the nobles, I'm sure, have their power and are more than willing to keep it the way things are. We must find a way to entice them to help us against the conglomerate, how it works out for them and their machinations and their plans.
See.
I don't know what those are, so the party, in one sense, might help us uncover what those may be.
Yeah. Absolutely. Plus, that's how you live in history. It's by having awesome house parties. Am I right?
You're
You could
damn
be
right.
that
Yes.
I was never one to be that book learned, so I will defer to you.
Honestly, if someone doesn't eat styrofoam out of a package box, it's not a real party.
Right.
With their pants at their ankles.
All right, pants at their ankles. I forgot.
Wait, people wear pants?
At parties. Anywho,
That could be a hell of a fun episode, though, if we do a house party. That's all I'm saying.
oh no, for sure. Literally the second you said it, my brain was like, whoosh, yeah.
I can do some magic trick.
Illegally.
I can make your wallets disappear.
Yes.
Now we can buy all the
I threw
warehouses.
that out there. That was on my list of things. All right, cool.
And then
All right, I think that's about it. Then I'd go to the. Eventually somebody's going to have to clean up my office there. That was a scene of a murder. Basically,
it was.
I'm gonna have the people do that.
That was cleaned. The body and all that was cleaned, but
there's papers all
the
over
papers
it,
and
too,
stuff,
though.
the mess that wasn't.
Yeah. I'll have to look at all those. There may be something important in there. Maybe like a picture of some awesome gnome.
Well, you kind of generally looked at it last time, and it was basically just like documentation regarding house affairs and costs and stuff. It's where you found out the wealth that you currently have.
All right, cool. So that's it for me, pretty much.
Okay, and then Ren and
Everybody has to get a room. Everybody kind of has to get a room, though.
yeah, Ren and Sam would arrive back on the scene, and yeah, let's see. Hold on a second here. So on the second floor, which nobody's been to yet. Hold on a second.
There's a second floor?
Yeah. I've only ever lived in basements. I'm an idealist.
To be fair, it is ideal.
For sure.
Nice.
So there is an upstairs. That's where most of the bedrooms are. But does anybody want to stay down here? There aren't any bedrooms per se, but there are couches. Plenty of space to sleep if anybody wants to stay on this floor.
I'll take the second floor.
I'll take a room.
I'm taking the master bedroom.
For all that sleep you need, Bullet.
Sure.
Well, I have
I'm gonna try
to.
to
It'd
take
be nice to
Gilbert's
have
room
some
before
dressers to store all my clothes.
Fair.
I have several changes.
Hey, we have some suits of armor standing up. You can stand right next to one and just kind of look cool,
So you guys
Like
could
a
be on the
mannequin.
second floor now.
That's racist.
Sam short sheets,
That's right.
Gilbert's bed.
Yeah, actually, can I do that?
So in this place, as you guys can see, there are a couple of doors that kind of lead to different places there. You came in through the door on the north side, and you can kind of see the whole map. There's no dynamic lighting, but the
Fancy.
master bedroom is the one with the messy bed, and the main guest chamber is the one on the south end with the bay windows and the porch, or deck rather. There is another office up here. This one is much more tidy and has a bit of a library to it. The library here is not referential to histories or anything. This is simply transactional history from House Willenbart to other parties. There is a bit of a shrine in this chamber here, mainly to Dim, and then kind of a trophy room with hunted animals kind of posted up. But yeah, take your bedrooms.
Oh. Since I don't need a bed.
Yeah, that's a study, basically.
Sam, you'll be informed by the archer that's posted out on the porch that every morning one of their number will come out onto the porch, but they do so by moving through your bedroom. They typically do this as a wake-up call, so just to let you know, your area is a quote-unquote heavy traffic chamber. If privacy is your goal, that's not the room.
Completely screw up with my whole alarm system. Could you possibly find a different room to go through?
Nope.
I'm gonna sleep in the library.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'd like to say if you wake up and get shot by a magic missile or something, it's not my fault.
She pulls one of the arrows out and kind of hands it to you. And she,
Yes, this is pretty.
do you see the head being perfectly elven in craftsmanship with the razor barbs at the end there? Basically, the purpose of those is when I shoot one into your throat, you're not going to be able to pull the barbed arrow out. You're going to have to push it all the way through, out the back of your neck. And that's That's just one. There will be 3 in your neck by the time you're able to even get up and grab your filthy spell components. So, I suggest before you make idle threats, you think about what you're saying, and she kind of just looks to you and says, I'm going to be entering here at dawn. My compatriot will be leaving here at the same time, and we'll both be walking through. So it'll actually be more like 6 arrows in your throat. Anyways, the point is we're going to be continually walking through this chamber. If that's not in your best interests, if you need your beauty sleep to keep your hair perfectly green and immaculate, you might want to choose a different chamber.
You're a bit of a
Perhaps.
feisty person, aren't you? Are you sure you don't want to spend maybe a little more time in this room?
She smiles. Your turnaround was immaculate. I thank you for not being overly serious like you were to start. And perhaps we can get a drink later. But, I tell you, don't cast your alarm spells. We're going to walk through them, and they will disturb you, okay?
John, I'm going to cast alarm by the front door then.
Okay. So yeah, basically, see this little side passage here? That's what she's talking about. They're going to enter in through the side passage there, and then they're going to walk to this door and exit out to the porch. So if you cast your alarm here, you'll be fine. And she also notes to you that these doors are locked. Not even you can get in them unless you have the keys that the archers have. Valette, you'll notice that the chamber you've taken up residence in there, to the right of it, this door here is unlocked for you. It leads into a side passage, which I just discussed. The door here and the door here are locked. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this room here appears to be some sort of changing room
Ah, perfect.
with a full wardrobe. The wardrobe has a lot of gnome-sized clothing, but this can be easily moved to the master bedchamber.
Excellent.
Very regal, very sharp-looking gnome dress, but a little bit too small for you.
Every girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed gnome, right? That's what I'm thinking of.
The guest chamber, you
John, I'm leaving now.
okay?
If I had a beard, I'd start swinging it.
The guest chamber you've taken up, Ren. It does have a bathroom to the side of it, the dressing room that you've taken up, resident in Valette. Sam, you are told by the archer that is also your restroom. As you can see, it does have a bit of a lavatory placement there at the bottom. The whole house has working electricity and waterworks, as is the case with most houses in Rostegard. Any where'd Sam go? No, not Sam. Sorry, yeah, Lauren. Where are you staying?
Every room is taken, right?
Oh, Yen Lauren. Yeah, he's here.
No.
Trophy room.
Hey man, you can fit 2 to those beds.
We could put a bed in there.
Sam and
Yeah,
Lauren.
do you want to share some bed?
Wait,
space, Yen Lauren?
Did someone start a ship and I didn't even notice it?
Yep. It's
Fine.
Sam Lauren.
Are we shipping the
Hey,
mages?
Sam Lauren.
I'd like to say I'm already going for the archer. All right.
Annual. I don't. Okay, Archer it is. The Broxcar staying downstairs. Okay, everybody sleeps. Anybody have anything they want to do before they go to sleep?
I mean, so long as I can get some time to do like the scribbling of spellbook stuff in at some point.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're in your room. It also has a desk. It looks like the letterhead that's been left in your room, Sam. It looks like it's stationery that has Gilbert Kergosler's name on the header at the top. Your presumption
Yeah,
is
that
this
was my
used to be
room.
Gilbert's room.
Right. So you're telling me that the paper that's in here is garbage. Got
It's
it.
absolute garbage, yeah.
Nice.
Someone salty.
Yeah.
Um,
Like like in the second best room in the place.
Oh.
Hey, I don't know about what's going on. I've got women walking through my room like randomly at night. This is a great room.
You have one woman. The other two archers, I named all of them.
No, all three of them migrate. It's one shift, total of 3 shifts.
Ah,
Yeah.
sweet.
Okay.
All right.
Nobody.
I would probably before bed go down and see what Broxgar's up to.
Okay. Yeah. He's in the
Oh,
library.
did we finish our research?
Yeah.
I'm waiting until he's like ready to go to bed before I go up to fucking bed.
Oh.
Like,
It'd probably be one of the situations where I'm so into it that I'd stay up as late as possible. I'd probably just pass out of the library.
Yes.
fair.
Flipping some books.
If
Love it.
that's the case, I don't disturb,
Well-
and I.
When you do enter into the room, he probably. I mean, he's pretty perceptive. He probably takes notice of you, but yeah, he is focused. So your call.
But Yen Lauren's there too.
Yeah, I believe so. They're trying to out cool kid each other, but I think Yen Lauren will probably be the first to wave or.
probably.
But if they're still both there, I just sort of like notice, sort of nod to them, and return to my room and
Okay.
sort of, station up for the night.
Yeah, the book that as you're kind of like leaving them, it's probably about the time that they're kind of learning a bit more about Seishan Subeda. So one of the books that's being kind of looked at, page 1 shows like common text, and the page 2 seems to be what it's being translated from. The very stylized lettering of Sari.
Also, John,
Mhm.
I'm going to take a couple of those pieces of paper from the desk and just shove them in my bag, just in case they might be useful.
Gilbert Kerr Gosler headered paper. Put 5 sheets in your pouch.
Yeah.
And so, Matt, you're continually casting that spell to prevent Valette from,
I
being
cast it
seen.
earlier today. Yeah, I
Would-
cast
would-
one earlier today.
So
Would Ren? Go ahead. Would Ren be confident that that Gilbert's guards kind of know what they're doing to the extent that we're not going to be like watched from outside, or?
Oh yeah. If you actually do like a quick check of the promenade, you'll note that the soldiers have 3 groups as well that they are shifting through, and the archers do as well. The archers seem to be placed outside at the front of the house, but are able to check the side of the house as well. No one checks the other side of the house, the western side of the house, because it's a bit more fortified. It could definitely be breached, but in the unlikely event that that's the case, the soldiers on the first floor, who are basically holding the gates, would be able to very quickly identify that that's the case. You see that the night shift for soldiers is smaller than the day and morning shifts for the soldiers, in that it's only one individual who circumnavigates the downstairs interior and watches out the windows at specific checkpoints. And if you ask him and kind of keep an eye, you'll note that it's a very strategic methodology that he's enacted here. Nobody could... Someone would have to be able to get over the wall and get through the gardens in a span of 3 minutes without being detected.
And my trance is only a few hours long,
Correct.
so I would want to break it and be able to I just want to, for the first few nights, walk around and make sure everything's good to go.
Yep. You very quickly find out that all the places that you end up trying to go to watch are either within eye shot of someone who's being paid to do this, or very quickly are like mirroring and aligning with those people. Okay. Night 1. Anybody have anything besides? Yen. Actually, who was the one that took the document off of the dead body up in that apartment complex?
Oh shit, that was so long ago. I don't even remember. I
Probably
don't
you.
think it was me.
Probably Zach.
No idea.
Yeah.
Probably, I think it was
Is
me.
that the brown envelope or no?
No, the brown envelope was the dossiers on the 3 individuals.
I think it might have been you and Lauren.
Yeah.
Because we were coming up the stairs separate from everyone else, right? Or is
Yep.
that me and Sam?
This was the document that had basically arcane ritual that, so far as you could understand, was the generation of a living horse. Do you remember that?
Yes.
How to make a living horse?
How to make a living horse out of this an unborn
Yeah,
soul.
someone gave it to me so I could figure that out, but then I never gave it back to anyone.
No, that was the contents of the brown envelope. A bunch of arcane jargon with terms only mages know. Had a horse drawing with lots of details, and then eventually, and Lauren said it was something about the soul
You're
well
right.
and Sunspire.
Gain
schematic for
inspiration.
creating- Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right.
I have it. I have it already.
Give it to someone else.
Yeah, who doesn't have inspiration?
Me.
I don't.
He said first, so I'm gonna give it to Tim.
Thank you.
So
And as we've seen in the past, I use my inspiration for others.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm gonna let you two work that out. I'll give it to you next when I get it, Matt.
okay.
And I think I gave it to you
Whoa.
last, actually, didn't
Sick,
I have
unexpected
no
burn.
idea.
Whoa.
Sam, what?
I said sick, unexpected burn. He said, I'll give it to you next time I get it, insinuating that you're never going to get it. And he's like, I'm so cool.
I mean, to
That's
be fair,
not
don't
what I
think
meant.
ever got it in the last campaign.
No, yeah, you did.
I'm being sarcastic, John.
Oh,
Yeah.
alright. I was about to say, Zelborg got it the most, I thought.
Yeah, I was almost
Yeah.
positive. Like, that was all about that inspiration.
I love that fucking character. That's why, never mind. Anyways, you all sleep.
That's why he's immortal now.
Yeah, if you study the contents, I mean, again, it's basically some very, very potent right to be able to create a living creature. Creation ex nihilo, basically. But yeah, when you wake up, what do you guys do the next day?
When we gather
some bacon.
around, yeah, after maybe eating a light breakfast, Ren would say, well, when I was at my office, I received a letter, and it seems like the Mardigans are not too happy with me for not consulting them about what we're up to. And they have a job for me to do. And something's going to be dropped off here, Gilbert, at your house, your mansion.
Okay. We'll be ready.
So that
And-
might be something that
Do-
we might do.
Yeah.
Do
possibly.
we have more description on what something that's being dropped off is? Is it basket of eggs? Is it basket of babies? What?
John,
And Lauren, the word that was used was drop. There'll
just
be a drop at Gilbert's house.
Matt,
Just-
go ahead.
Well, hopefully not basket of babies then.
Matt, sorry,
no.
what? Oh, you cast
just so I don't have to worry
Okay.
about it.
Yep. Nistel's on bullet.
All right.
Then what
So
happens?
if I eventually when I see Rolf today, I want to ask him to look at prices of warehouses. He was going to do that already, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he comes back in the
Yeah.
kind of early morning and basically throws a small pouch onto the table.
Sweet.
There you go.
All right. Sweet. I'm going to put that down. I'm basically now out of spending money. All my money is going to be
You want me to do what today?
other money. I need
I have some
you
plans of
to-
my own, but if you've got something you need me to do, I think I
Well,
can do it.
Your plans would probably be better since you've been in the city longer.
Yep,
So
sure.
do what you think's best, but I need to get the price of an affordable warehouse. So I'm thinking of something could be cheap, run down. Whatever.
We're renting a
as long as
warehouse
it's in-
already.
It has to be in Rastigar.
Yeah, we're renting
Old
one.
Rastigar.
Oh, in Old
And-
Rastigar. Oh no, we have one in Bearport.
Yeah, we need one in Rastigar.
Oh
It
yeah.
has to be here. That's a deal breaker.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can stop renting. I can stop paying for that one. Also, from what I understand, you have an apartment. Yes.
Yeah, but after what
Nah.
happened to it last, I don't think I'm going to pay for that anymore.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure that that contract is broken. They'll probably expect some sort of compensation, but I'm sure I can negotiate with your name. And a warehouse in Old Rastagar. It won't be cheap. It's a lot of space.
I want the cheapest one I can get.
Yeah, okay.
But not, you know...
You might want to
huge
just
share.
have one built on the property.
You mean this property?
That's going to be a lot cheaper than trying to find a warehouse in Old Rastagar. You do know that the
just-
moneyed people live around here, yeah?
Yeah, I just don't really want one on
I
my
suppose-
property because you shouldn't, like have crappy warehouses right in your property.
Oh, no, for sure. It would definitely cut down the nobility of your house and the market
Yeah.
value.
Exactly.
But,
so maybe make it, see if you can find one on the corner or on the edge of the
You-
old Rastagar. And
you
if
don't
not, maybe
underst-
just a piece of property. We could build one on the edge of Rastagar.
I don't think you understand. Old Rastagar's property, it's called Old Rastagar for a reason. It's the oldest borough. It's the original city. And everything here is bought. If you want to own anything here, it needs to be given to you by landed deals. Like, when Wellenbar died and you took his house. But for a warehouse to be rented, you're going to have, in this borough, you're going to have to go through the Gentleman's Society, and that's not going to be easy.
Okay, I got a plan. This is a good idea. I'm gonna get this warehouse in Old Rastagar by a technicality. Get something just out of Old Rastagar into Bearport or wherever.
Yeah,
And
our-
we will build a warehouse right on the edge, and then we'll say that's basically in.
Our warehouse in Bearport
Rastagar.
is, it's within the warded area. It's pretty nice.
Okay, I'm gonna try to use that one then.
Okay.
I'll have to check it out. I'll check it out myself. And
Yeah,
then I'll
that's
try
fine.
using that one.
He grabs a piece of paper, sets it out on the table, writes some information, and slides it back to you. That's the
Okay,
address.
We're gonna have
It's
we're gonna have to check this out.
kind of away from the water, so if your intent is to use it for that kind of activity, what have you, that might be a problem. But there's the address.
I think it'll work.
That's
And
fine.
you know what? Beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, I suppose that's right.
All right.
But you're not much of a beggar. You're a noble.
No, well, this is true, but I know some beggars. That's the problem.
You mean those other
Alright.
fuckers who are around here? Oh, I'm sorry, my lord. Your guests. I
I
apologize.
would like to say, first of all, we're not beggars, you fucking prat.
Are you around?
Oh, I'm talking about the night sharks, you asshole.
Oh, I'm
But
sorry.
I can't tell him that. I'm not going to tell the guy who works for me anything about the night sharks, just that I'm going to get a warehouse. And what happens in the warehouse stays in the warehouse. It's basically Las Vegas of warehouses.
Yes. So the you kind of look to him, and he kind of heads off. The address he's written down is 523 Hyde Street, or Hyde Parkway rather.
Is it on the corner of Jekyll Ave?
No, but it is located near the H. Hyde
Nice.
Parkway is actually one of the 3 streets that makes up the H.
That gives it a lot more value. The H. I don't know, I'm making this shit up, but it sounds good.
Clearly.
Alright, so I want to look at that eventually, but I know we also have something to do with Ren, so I don't want to miss out on that either.
We have nothing to do until said drop occurs, correct?
True.
Quick question: did we ever actually fulfill the job for the night sharks? Like, we found out he's dead, but do we ever actually report back?
Oh yeah, we never did.
You've got the phone. I mean, the communication device.
Oh yeah, we got communicators.
Might I suggest we complete our affairs for the night sharks?
I
This
agree,
is
that's
a good suggestion. Yes.
What are you doing?
Who is sort of the designated person that was given the communicator?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
It wasn't me. Even though I'm the one that kind of sprung that whole thing.
But I don't
Yeah.
typically call the night sharks with it. So
Nobody typically calls the night sharks with it. We just got the communicator, you dick.
the communicators or whatever, like like a hot. You want to use a hot cell phone or something. I don't know.
A burner phone.
A burner phone, a burner communicator. These things are expensive, I think.
That's literally what they gave you. Yeah.
Anyways, fine. You can use my communicator, but I don't want to make the call. Who else?
We don't have to use your communicator. We got one specifically from them that's a burner. We're going to use the
Oh.
burner. Call
Yeah.
them,
That
you
was a
damn
joke.
short gnome.
I thought that was a joke. I missed
No.
it. Went right
No,
over my
we
little
literally got a burner communicator from them.
He's too short to get jokes, guys.
They just go right over his head.
Oh man, you have to be at least tall to understand humor.
I take the communicator
Nice.
from I don't know who and I shove it
No.
in Ren's direction.
Gnome shaming. First we had
Yeah,
gnome splaining, now we have gnome shaming. Turnabout is fair play.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Anyway,
true.
who's making the call?
I nominate Ren.
Yeah, I think he'd be best at that.
I mean, Villette doesn't nominate anyone.
I can't tell if he's
Yeah.
dozing. Okay, no, he blinked. Okay, he's still there. Brandon was just kind of, or Annie was just kind of staring.
And he's just sort of like,
Are you tired, buddy?
What?
Oh man.
All right.
Okay. Well, they're saying that you should be the one that calls the night sharks person.
Why should I call the night sharks?
He does have crappy charisma, correct?
I have the worst charisma.
damn it, here's good charisma. That's not me because I don't want to talk to these bastards.
I have decent charisma, but I don't want to talk to him either.
Fine,
But I
I'll take the
can't.
phone because I'm not giving it to him.
I mean, I do have a 20.
Okay, I'll
Jesus.
give it to you and Lauren.
Jack, you're doing
Give
it.
it to you and Lauren.
Zach, you're the talker. Why are you not talking more?
I just don't remember. Was I there when we got it from the night sharks? Do the night sharks know me? Would it be okay? All right.
So everybody but Gilbert was there. Remember, Wilbur
Right. Okay.
blow.
Yes.
blew
Then
his-
yeah. Then why? You can give me the fucking thing.
And then you went to that weird house and
Yeah.
or that weird warehouse.
Yeah. It was a lot of drugs ago.
that
Um,
makes sense.
That's a great way to describe it. It was a lot of drugs ago, guys.
I don't know, man. There's been a lot of alcohol and stuff. Yeah, then I'll take the communicator and does it have a buzzer or whatever? Yeah.
Basically, yeah. You press the button, put it to your ear. You hear the soft tone of it basically being readied for the other person to pick up the communication on the other side. The second you hear it kind of click off and it sounds like the other person would be talking, their immediate statement is, "Don't speak. If the mission is completed, bring the guest to warehouse 123." And then you hear it click.
So did we get his body?
Nope.
Oh boy.
Mission's not completed.
I blame.
I make proposition on table right now. We leave no bodies behind. This is last body we forget as group. Understood?
Keeps dicking us on leaving bodies behind. We need to be more like Solid Snake. We need to put them shits in lockers for later.
I gotta start hitmanning
I
that
didn't
shit.
fucking know we needed a body.
Dumpsters and fucking closets. We need to hide
Can we
bodies.
go back
places.
and collect his body?
You can try.
Good.
We're gonna have to try. Let's fucking go.
You guys head back to the garbage pail.
Yeah.
Auto carriage.
Yeah.
Sure, as long as I'm not driving.
And are you going?
Cheapskate.
Who's driving?
I am.
Okay. Go ahead and make a vehicles land check for me with dexterity.
I'd like to say, guys, we're really good at this.
21.
You make it there. When you arrive on the scene, you head up to that floor, and you realize that they're doing work on the elevator. It's been broken. needs some fixing. So you take the stairs.
Who broke the elevator?
You do see that they are working on it, specifically on the floor that you guys go to. Looks like they're trying to repair the doors from having been rented open and broken and such. There's some walls that are kind of being, slowly put back together. People are basically doing construction work. But you notice that
I don't think you should stay here. This looks like a dangerous neighborhood.
the wall of your apartment is still broken open, and sitting in the couch, just kind of watching the viewing screen and listening to the radio broadcasts, of the day, is a man just sitting there where he was sitting.
Enderman!
And Damon's just still hanging out. And he kind of looks over to you guys and says,
man.
"Oh, hey.
What's up, man?
Yeah, they're just doing some construction work around here. Got most of this stuff cleaned up. They're just putting in the walls now. Well, what about you guys?"
We're here to pick somebody up.
He kind of leans in and he says, "Are you talking about the neighbor across the hall?"
I have no idea what you're. Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, he's in the bathroom, and he kind of points behind him into your apartment. Yeah, Gilbert. I figured that was important, and made sure that. Yep.
At least somebody was thinking when I was gone.
Yeah, it's all right. You guys were busy with other stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta never let these guys forget this though.
Yeah.
Losing the body.
You were here too.
Well,
I wasn't.
with the elevator being broken out and everyone having to take the stairs, there's really no way for you to avoid moving it. So if that's your goal, and I'm guessing based on your guys' look and you've brought everybody, that's your goal. You're gonna need some way to do it, camouflaged and.
Yeah, I've got a way to do it.
Might I suggest that we wrap a blanket around it and someone brings a car around to the alley and we jump
just
off?
Guys,
he seems to just be ignoring Valette and just kind of looks over at Yen Lauren and Sam.
Hey guys, I've got a better idea. Somebody check and see if it's rigor mortis. If it is, I can make it look like we're taking a couch down from the apartment.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, between him and I, we can illusion the shit.
And he says, "No need to
Why
check.
don't we weakened that Bernie yet?
It is." He says, "It is. I think it's been dead for a couple of days."
Yeah, we can just
He-
take it down as a couch.
He has been dead for a couple of days.
Great. Some prestidigitation should get rid of the smell.
And some silent images should make it look all. Actually, you know what? How tall is he?
The dead guy, 5'7".
Would minor illusion cast that because it can hit a 5-foot square area?
I'll allow it.
Okay, so I can minor illusion a couch.
Okay.
It's a small couch, but it's a couch.
Yeah, love seat, more of a love seat. Okay. All right. And minor illusion, go ahead and make me a charisma deception check or a charisma arcana check, your choice.
If I also
Pretty
cast
hard
minor,
cast.
if I also cast minor illusion, can I help him with that?
Yeah, you can go ahead and help him. So he'll have he'll have help, so advantage. And then who's carrying it physically?
24.
Didn't need it, but there you go.
Well, since she's probably the strongest.
Endemon says, "I'll
Think
help
so.
out." So it looks more like we're carrying a couch instead of a body. I'll take the feet or this side of the couch.
That is fine.
All right. The two of you don't need to make a check.
I would like to describe this couch.
Sure.
It is bright pink with purple polka dots and the words "I love you, Smoochie" on the cushion.
Subtlety.
Love seats.
I love it.
Yeah, it's an actual love seat.
I get you. All right. And you guys hustle it downstairs. Several people do pass you on the flight of steps back up to their apartments. And the landlord isn't present at the counter like he never is. And you guys go to the auto carriage and toss the body in after making it no longer a couch. Or you toss it in while it is a couch. It seems to fit awkwardly, and then the spell's gone. Nobody seems to notice or care. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, or we could tie it down on top of the roof.
Put it in the trunk.
You just see Sam's hand like outside the window holding it up, like doing this to keep the illusion up. Just like, it's fine, guys.
Muttering under my breath.
Worry about it, like casually just.
Literally reliving like several years ago. Like I moved a queen size bed by strapping it with bungee cords to my car, and it's not a truck or anything. It's drive really slow and everybody hold a half of it.
Hold the corner.
Nice.
Oh man.
Good times. Anywho, okay, it's in the car, and everybody else is too. Endemon, noting that there's not enough seating for him, says, "That should be good. Looks of you should be fine taking it out.
Yes, thank you.
Good luck." It walks back into the apartment complex, turns over, or stops, like looks over his shoulder, looks at Brock's car, gives him kind of a look, and says, "You gonna be all right?
Why don't you come with us?
Not enough room in that car."
Come to the manor that we're all staying. And I explained to him where it's at.
You sure?
That's where we'll be. Yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah, I'm sure.
I turn to Gilbert and say, "Will he be an invited guest?"
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
But I'll tell you one thing: they won't let you in until I'm there because they don't know you. But that's fine. Just wait outside. We'll be there in a little bit.
Sure.
Okay, John, I'm just wondering, like, the entire time that I've spent with this guy, does he have, like, any ulterior motives as far as I can tell, or is he just really this helpful?
What do you inside him or something?
Yes, I really want to insight this
make
bastard.
it with an insight check.
A good thing I've got no proficiency and a 0 insight, so this is going to go well, guys.
Hey, roll good. Nice.
Roll 19.
You're on
That's not bad.
fire today.
18 works.
He just seems to be a generally heroic person, and just super helpful. There's almost a nobility to him, perhaps a royalty.
Interesting. Hint.
He seems to be a bit gruff and rough around the edges, but there's like a secret underlying kind of just presence, leadership qualities. Very heroic.
Right.
Good person to have as a.
He's my buddy!
I'm not sure I trust him still.
Yeah, we're best friends. He heads to the house. You guys head to
Warehouse 132, right?
123.
123. I don't know, man. I got all the numbers right. Just
Yeah,
the
you got all
order.
the numbers. To be fair, it's pretty good.
Come on, man. That's great for me. I remember there were numbers and not letters.
Number ACB.
Okay. And you guys arrive at Warehouse 123. The second you do, the door opens, like almost as if someone saw you approach out of the car auto carriage. And you see the gentleman from before kind of look to you and say, "Oh, hey, yeah." Kind of looks to what you're carrying. Do I understand what I'm seeing here correctly?
Most
Yes,
likely.
this is a love seat.
He kind of gestures for you to enter in after unlocking the seal and allowing you entry into the white chamber from before. Yeah, he kind of shrugs and say, "Yeah, lay him out on the table, I guess."
I lay him on the table, and I turn to, was it Ren, and say, "Do you want to produce the documents we found?"
He says, "1 second," and just seems to just not pay attention to you and is completely silent. After a fashion, you start hearing a buzzing sound. And then you hear a voice, a disembodied voice, come from the mirror again. And he says, "So, you found him. And you just idly mentioned something that's important to me. Did you look at them?"
Yes.
That's a big problem.
I didn't look at them.
It's a really big problem.
Was I there when they looked at them? Or was I
think
out
we jumped
chasing? I was
think
with
we
Sam.
had jumped out the window at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
Add a character note. At this point, everybody has enough insight. It's higher than 0 to be able to tell he doesn't care who actually looked at the documents. You, as a group, looked at the documents.
Right.
I'd like to say I have an insight of 0. Sam's trying to.
No. I mean, if you rolled an insight of 0, like if your dice result was 0, you'd still get the fact that you're fucked.
Darn it! I wish I had a -2 now, so I could roll a natural 1.
That's a really big problem. That's not what we agreed to. What I told you is I really wanted to spend some time with our friend here. And what you're telling me is that you went through his things?
These things were out. We
I
collected.
don't really like being told things that are snarky and fucking annoying. And I suggest you keep your Janaran mouth fucking shut. Now what I
Cracks a big smile with his mouth open.
Now what I said before is I wanted to speak with Mr. Dermont. That's obviously not an option since you brought him in here as a fucking couch.
I mean, to be fair, we found him already out of house, so to speak.
Yeah, I get you.
Do you not have access to speak with the dead?
Silence for a moment. Kind of an annoyed kind of sigh kind of rings out. Okay. I'm trying to think of how you can make this right. I didn't explicitly
Trigger side quest.
I didn't explicitly tell you not to look at the documents. In fact, I didn't mention the documents. That's my own fault. Typically, when I deal with more reliable associates, they don't go off the beaten path. They do as they're told. And that's really important to me. So very important. But I suppose, if nothing else, I am forgiving. Once. Leave the documents on the table. If it's found that you have copies of the documents in any way, shape, or form, understand that you will draw the ire of the people you are trying to make rights with.
Oh, thank goodness I decided not to try out my new spell on that.
And that's the least important part of what you would be doing that would negatively affect your futures. Night Sharks are all well and good, but this favor was brought to pay back a debt they owed us. That said, we must continue. Gnome, you had mentioned something about a spell that we definitely do not have access to. Do you?
That is a good question. Going out of character, it's a 3rd level spell, and I do have 3rd level spells. So I
Did you
think
prepare it today?
I
As a
did not.
cleric, you can have any spell, right?
No.
Yeah, you can have access to it, just
You have to prepare.
prepared.
Today.
So I didn't prepare it today. I could prepare it tomorrow, though. Man, why did I open my stupid mouth?
Yeah, what's wrong
It's
with you?
alright.
Is it within
don't
your
have
power to do it?
It is.
Yes.
It's within my power to
Then do it.
Could I ask you a question? We're talking to the Mardigans right now, right?
No.
Hadrian.
Oh, we're talking to that. Oh, Hadrian, my favorite.
No. The guy who's
No,
talking
this
with
is
disembodied voice. You don't know who it is.
So
I don't know who it
The
is.
Yakuza, but
he has hinted that he is not actually a night shark, that he is someone that the night sharks owed a favor to, and that's where a lot of the issues are coming down to right now.
Okay.
He
I
is
was
some
confused.
third party we don't know who he's with.
He's
Okay.
above the
the
night
Kengu.
shark.
No, he's
somehow.
with the Kengo, right? The Kengo.
Correct.
Yeah, this is the Kengo that we're talking right now.
Shinoyoro Kengo. Correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do it. Not immediately, not right now, but tomorrow or any time after that,
Okay.
because it takes time to prepare that spell.
So I just want to make sure you understand something very, 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 very fucking clear. This is absolutely integral to this job going forward without any problems. And I need to make sure. I need to make sure that you're not trying to fuck me. And when he says that, you see that the gentleman who's in the room, is kind of now looking over at Yen Lauren. And he might have been staring at you the whole time. You're just not even sure. And it's really, really hard to feel comfortable in that way when someone is smiling so fucking much.
Yeah.
I minor illusion of frown onto Yen Lauren's face.
Gain inspiration. Gain inspiration. It seems to. He goes, "That's better." Not noticing that a spell was cast to cause the frowning.
I think some of my group reacts differently to stress and.
Yeah, I don't need a
So I
psychology
apologize.
lesson. No, thanks though. What I need is to be able to talk with our friend here. You've done half of what I wanted. You found what I was looking for. And I trust that you did not look at these documents for too long. They were just gibberish to you. Am I safe in assuming that that's true? Okay.
Yes, you are.
I don't even remember what was on them. Granted, I wasn't there, so that makes it a lot easier.
Okay. So, Lord Kurgosler, tomorrow you'll return here by yourself. Or
Really looking forward to it.
to be fair, you can choose one other person to come with you. Anyone but that fucking Jernarin.
I would like to bring Ren with me then, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
All right.
And you'll
I'd be
cast the
nice.
spell, and you will answer the question, or you will ask the thing the questions we have for it.
Yes.
In the meantime, anyone in that dossier we gave you would be absolutely integral to our goals here. And we would love to have them as our guest. So if you could find either Lorenzo or Yuki and bring them to us now that Mr. Durmon is dead, we'd greatly appreciate it. We really would. You've done half of the job already. We just need to find out one more thing. That's all we need. And then we can act on it. I just want to make sure you understand. We've forgiven your curiosity once. We will not forgive it again. Do you understand?
Understand. Understood.
Itomi, see them out. The gentleman kind of nods his head, moves to the door, opens it, and kind of raises his hand up to Yen. The communication device, please.
I hand it to him.
He drops it on the ground and steps on it and breaks it, reaches into his pocket, pulls out another one, and hands it to Gilbert.
Alright. Just what I always wanted.
He nods his head.
Alright. And as we leave, I'm gonna look over at Ren and like, I can't believe the shit that I get into since I've met you guys. This is crazy.
I can't imagine the shit you got into when you were on your own.
Yeah, it was a lot of different shit, but those courts can get to be
A lot
crazy.
more taxes.
Yeah,
So
a lot
much more.
taxes.
Okay. You guys start to head over to the auto carriage. It's still, from the day before and the past couple of days, it's been kind of raining off and on. As we've covered, it hasn't been brought up too much, but you do notice that it's a little foggy today. But in the slight fog, you can see standing near the auto carriage, kind of walking past it or maybe walking up to it. You're not sure. You do see what appear to be 3 individuals, about 7'8", kind of dark green skin, almost ogre in coloration, wearing kind of fitted attire. They kind of all look over in your general direction at about the same time, almost as if they were in some sort of trance, really. And they lock eyes on Yen Lauren. And upon doing so, they reach for the blades they have on their shoulders and draw these massive, single-bladed, edged weapons out. And in unison, they all 3 say, "Surrender the shard." And that's
So
where we'll
this
pick up
Trans
next
Warrior?
week.
Oh, snap.
Surrender the shard.
Dream Shard.
All right, thanks for
That's
watching.
Reg.
We'll pick up next week. Thank you guys for watching.
Nice.